Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationship, toxic relationship advice channel. Yes, and if you need to reach out to me, please look in the description and you will find my email. We can go from there. And everything's all confidential. Me and coaching and dating, love, relationship, blah, 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 whatever. You can reach out to me. All right, let's get into this one. This is really a sad case. I don't know if everybody has been following it, but the young girl, 23 years old, named Kada Scott, read the description so you get an idea. We're going to basically go through some news clips and a little bit of the press conference, of everything that's going on and try to lead to up to date what's happening now. So basically, what I'm saying, ladies, watch out. It's a dusty epidemic out here. These dusties are all over the darn place. Be careful. So this young lady, 23 years old, got everything going for her. I think she finished school. She was going to college or something like that. She's on the right path. On the right path, doing the right things until a Dusty had to come along and take her away from it all. Yes, he did. So we're going to start with some news clips and then we're just going to run through this. All right. And what you do is make sure you hit the like button, share me out, and all that good stuff, and subscribe to the channel if you like. If you like my commentary, feel free to check out some of my past commentary. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this topic here. This really got me upset. I've been wanting to talk about this for a minute, but I'm just trying to, calm my nerves about this. I'm so sick and tired of this. I'm so sick and tired of these dusties out here. I really am. I really am. All right, let's get into it. Enough of me talking. Let's get into it. All righty, and I see Lisa, and I also see Raining Woman. Hey, beautiful. I see you, girl. All right, Raining Woman, let's get into this Dusty. We got another one on the loose. Well, he's actually locked up right now. Yeah, Dusty demons. They all over the place. Ladies, you got to be careful. All right, let's get into the commentary. I'm not going to talk so much. Let's just listen and go from here.
At 10:07 a.m. on the morning of October 4th, 12 hours before she was last seen, Kada Scott texted, "Kidnap me again," to her accused killer, Keon King, followed by plans to meet later that night, the affidavit of probable cause states, supporting homicide, abuse of corpse, and conspiracy charges, among 11 more crimes filed.
I wasn't mute, was I? Everybody heard what I said? I hope they did. Let me know in the comment section. I hope I wasn't mute while I was talking all this time. Lord have mercy. I hope not. All right. And I wanted to say this reason why I came back and I paused it. The speed is going to be on 1.25. Ladies and gentlemen, if it's too slow for you, hit the setting, adjust it to whatever is comfortable for you. Let's get it.
Against King. Detectives don't know yet what Kada possibly meant with that "kidnap me again" text, whether she had been taken before by him or if her text was her just joking around to help her skip work that turned into awful, deadly irony. Also,
Oh, darn. I'm sitting here having a whole big speech. Okay, well, basically, I'm going to start over again. I'm going to make it shorter. We're focusing on Kada Scott. Kada Scott is a 23-year-old girl in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, correct? This Dusty, it's a Dusty epidemic out here, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is. You have to be careful. Be extremely careful. Well, this Dusty that abducted her from her job. And she was in the park lot. She took a break. She went outside. I think she came in. Wait a minute. How'd it go? She comes to work, I think like around 10 o'clock at night. She only stayed for 20 minutes and then she punched out and she went outside and never seen her again. But now she's unalive. All right, we're gonna watch the clips. I don't want to talk so much. We're gonna watch the clips and everybody watch clips and you'll follow along what's going on. If not, you can feel free to watch the description. Thank you, Rain and Woman. Lord have mercy. Been talking for minutes and was mute. All right, let's get into this. And everybody, make sure you hit the like, share me out, leave feedback in the comment section. And also, if you need to reach out to me, look in the description. You can find my email address. If you need anything in coaching and dating, love, relationship, feel free to contact me. Everything is confidential. We go from there. Let's get it.
the court filing, video evidence, King had help taking Kada Scott's body from a stolen car and burying her in the shallow grave behind the long-vacated Philadelphia public school, supporting the conspiracy charges. Detectives believe King killed Kada Scott within the hour she got into his car where she worked, and her body was left in that car for a full day after. The next night, Sunday, October 5th, The affidavit states video shows King returned to the lot. He parked that car in with Kada's body, but wasn't alone. Arriving in the gold Toyota Camry police recovered last week, video from the nearby Philadelphia Rec Center surveillance camera shows two individuals on foot approached the suspect vehicle after waiting 4.5 hours until 3:56 a.m. One motions toward the gold Camry they came in, and it drives out of the parking lot, indicating a third person involved. King and the other person with him then go back to the Hyundai Accent, remove a heavy object consistent with a human body, and carry that object to the playground in the direction of where the human remains were recovered. The Hyundai is later seen driving out of the parking lot, and it was later found set on fire and completely burned. The affidavit states the sequence of King's phone radio tower transmission measurements, coupled with video evidence from the Awbury Rec Center, supports that King is present for and participates in all the crimes outlined in this affidavit. At Philly Police Headquarters, Steve Keeley, Fox 29 News.
All right, we told Kada's family we would not let this story go until we have a resolution. So here's some new info. This 21-year-old Keon King, who they arrested, he turned himself in and then they arrested him, has been charged in connection to the disappearance of Kada. He is now being held on a huge bond, $2.5 million.
So Shayna is live with more on all the charges and more on the investigation.
Yeah, today marks day 13 in the search for Kada Scott, 23 years old, and you mentioned a 21-year-old Keon King now facing a slew of charges, including kidnapping in connection to the disappearance of Kada Scott. Now, we are learning some new details about him, but let me give you a background in terms of where we are and how we got here. Now, Kada Scott was last seen on October 4th at her job at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill Senior Living Facility. This was back on October the 4th, and her family has been searching for her ever since. Now, Philadelphia police found some significant evidence at a former middle school near Awbury Arboretum here in Philadelphia, right by Germantown, so about 2.5 miles away from where she was last seen. There, it was where evidence was found, including a bank card with her name on it, and her cell phone case was found in that abandoned lot. Then on Wednesday, a tip led police to locate Keon King's vehicle, which was parked at a condominium complex in East Falls. The car was towed and it's now being processed for information and evidence, as police do believe at this point that Scott may have been inside that vehicle. Now, when it comes to the suspect, Keon Scott, 21 years old, as you mentioned, held on $2.5 million bail. He has quite the history when it comes to his rap sheet. We're learning he has a protection from abuse order against him for another woman in a separate case, which is still active until 2027. And we're going to pop up a video that's actually part of that investigation there. The victim in that case recording him.
Look at this Dusty. Just look at him. When I seen this clip, I was just like, are you flipping kidding me? And then the way he stepped out, like he was doing karate. Like, hiya. This dude is insane. And another thing too is, I don't know how true it is, so don't quote me on it, whatever. Just look it up yourself and find out. If I'm correct, his father's a lawyer. So, and he has himself his father is a detective, I heard. I could be wrong. And also, I think he has a private lawyer. So I guess his family is over here taking care of the Dusty. I don't know, I could be wrong, but we'll find out. All right, let's resume. Let's get back to this Dusty. Ladies, it's a Dusty epidemic. Be careful.
Attempting to break into her property there, and then that particular case that we're talking about that you're seeing, apparently that was dismissed by the DA's office, that case. But then since Kada Scott disappearing, and since Keon King being connected to that allegedly by investigators, the DA had refiled those charges in that case. And not only is he connected to a prior kidnapping case, but also a stalking case, as well as a rape case as well. So he has quite the rap sheet here, which is why he's held on such a high bail at this point. We heard directly from the family of Kada Scott. We actually heard from the dad just yesterday on Good Day. This is what he had to say.
With Kada not being with us, and as you know, each day the desperation grows.
There's one person out there that is a good friend of his that, has a heart, and understands the severity of this and speaks up.
Let my daughter go. Bring my daughter back home. She has loved ones, family, friends that all care about her. She has a bright head on the shoulders, a great future. People make mistakes. If she's alive and breathing, just get her back home. We
want her home.
Well said, Reigning Woman. Family is enablers. If it's true, what I'm hearing, I know that's your child. But do you know what this child did to somebody else's child? Woo, boy. And every day more and more stuff comes out. I can't even catch up. This is so sad. All right, get back to it. We got a lot to cover.
And that was Kada Scott's dad and her uncles on Good Day just yesterday. Now, we're live right outside of the Topgolf along Roosevelt Boulevard, and this is actually one of the locations that Kada Scott was last seen before she went missing. Now, she was last seen at the job, right? But she actually went on a date that night before returning, and so she went on this date with a separate guy, with an unrelated man, and then when she came home from her date, her mom says she saw her for a few minutes before she headed out to go to her job. So these are the two last locations that Kada Scott was seen, which is why we're live out here, hoping that anyone has any information on that. The family has a GoFundMe account. We have a link to it on our website with their own funds to hopefully motivate someone to come forward with information. But also Philadelphia Police has a tip line as well. Anybody is encouraged to come forward with information. Certainly they are looking for the safe return of Kada Scott. Guys.
Please, thank you for that brand new information about she was on a date that night, earlier in the evening at Topgolf, where Shayna is.
And then she went
with a different guy, like Shayna said, a different guy. It's not a Keon King.
A little bit that I heard about the date that she had. I guess she had a date before she went to work. Everything was fine. I think it's a guy she just met or something, you know, the first 2 dates or whatever, something like that. But everything was fine. I think he spoke to the police. He said he had a great date. Everything was fine. Least did he know he was never going to see this girl again. He did not know. He was sitting across that table, whatever date that they had, that he did not know. This is crazy. All right, I'm trying not to talk so much, but I'm telling you, I'm really heated about this. This really bothers me, this case. It really does. And so many other people, too. Welcome, everybody who's coming here. Make sure you hit the like. Welcome, welcome. Let's resume.
And then she went to work.
Yeah, that's what I understand. But the police have interviewed him about how they met and how the date went and stuff like that.
The search for a missing Philadelphia woman has now stretched into its second week. Family members and friends were back out today looking for any sign of 23-year-old Kada Scott. NBC 10's Yukari Nakayama is joining us live from the last place Scott was seen and where another search took place today. Yukari.
Yeah, well, Jackie, that search lasted hours. It started here at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill Senior Living Facility, where Kada was last seen. The crew today, small but mighty, all with the same goal to find any clues and more information to help find Kada.
If we got to drive from 1,000 billion trillion miles to come find you, we're going to find you. Nobody's giving up. If somebody needs to take a break, somebody always going to step in.
And that's exactly the case today. Efforts to find missing 23-year-old Kada Scott continues on Monday with a small crew of 3 made up of Kada's cousin and aunt, as well as a distant family friend who wanted to help.
Can't sleep, can't eat. Like, I'm at work, stressed, can barely work.
Khalil Scott says he won't be able to do any of that until he finds his cousin Kada. It's been a week since she was last seen at her job here at the Terrace at Chestnut Nursing Home. Investigators say she didn't finish her overnight shift, left her car behind, and no phone or social media activity was reported. Over the weekend, the family and supporters canvassed the nursing home as well as the Awbury Arboretum, which was also searched by investigators on Friday. Today, the search crew also looking in Pastorius Park. Family friend Desiree Whitfield helped organize the search today.
This family is tired, they're worn, and that's when people come side by side with you to help you do what needs to be done.
The goal, to put eyes on unsearched areas, a mission that won't stop until Kada is found.
If Kada hears us, baby girl, we're not stopping. Baby girl, we're not going to give up.
Now the investigation is ongoing. Police are asking anyone with information on the whereabouts of Kada Scott to contact them as soon as possible. Here in Chestnut Hill, Yukari Nakayama, NBC 10 News.
Breaking right now, a car connected to the disappearance of 23-year-old Kada Scott has been located in Philadelphia's East Falls neighborhood.
Chopper 6 is live over the Gypsy Lane condos in East Falls, where the 1999 gold Toyota Camry was found this afternoon. It was just this morning that police said they were searching for that car as part of the investigation.
Well, that car was found just hours after police said they found personal items belonging to Scott at an abandoned school building in East Mount Airy. Let's go live now to Philadelphia Police, who are giving an update on the car that was found.
Any reason that the information on the car was held back until today? You were tracking it around the city, and the information comes in today, and we have a car a couple hours later.
Again, it was the public's help. Okay, we suspected that car was attached to Mr. King. We had to gather the evidence enough to actually go look for the vehicle.
How long were police tracking this car?
I'm not going to get into that.
Any further conversations with Mr. King?
I'm not going to discuss that.
Sorry, you may have said this, but what is the connection to today's call?
I'm not going to discuss that right now.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Not a lot of additional details there given by police. Of course, we're keeping an eye on the car that was found. It's Wednesday night. The big story on Action News is the breaking update in the search for Kada Scott. The 23-year-old has not been seen since October 4th.
And authorities did mention they have not found her body. The investigation obviously fluid and continuing. Action News continuing to follow this breaking news story. Let's go to Action News reporter John Paul, who's live at the scene in East Mount Airy with the very latest. John.
Yeah, Rick, I'm over here in the Germantown area. This is the abandoned school where police were called to just a few hours ago when they found some evidence. I want to bring you up to speed what we're seeing right now. There is still a van parked in the back, and what they're doing is we've seen crews actually boarding up windows. There are a lot of broken windows and holes here. We're not sure if the evidence was found inside the abandoned school or not. There's only one officer left here at the scene because about 30 or 40 minutes ago, they left the scene here to go over to East Falls where that car was discovered.
We have a lot of digital evidence, video and other, which provides us with this individual.
An arrest tonight in the disappearance of 23-year-old Kada Scott, who hasn't been seen since October 4th. 21-year-old Keon King is now charged with kidnapping. Police say he was the last person to see Scott, and they were likely together in this 1999 gold Toyota Camry. The vehicle was just located a short time ago on the 4000 block of Gypsy Lane in East Falls.
We're not done our investigation. We need to find Miss Scott, figure out where she is, what may have happened to her.
Just over an hour after the news conference, a tip led police here to an abandoned middle school near Awbury Arboretum in Germantown. It's close to an area police had canvassed last Friday.
Shortly after arriving out here, we were able to locate some physical evidence which ties Miss Scott to this scene. And obviously this is very substantial.
Sources tell Action News that evidence included clothing items and a debit card with Scott's name on it. Police used canines, drones, and crime scene technicians to search the grounds and could be seen circling evidence outside. Family members of Kada Scott heard about the search and they came out to the scene. They talked with investigators, but were too distraught to talk with us about the case. Neighbors who are following this hope that Scott is found soon.
This is somebody's family. This is someone's loved one. And everyone is affected by the circumstances. That someone so evil could go and kidnap her. And we just want to find her alive.
And police are treating this as if she is still alive, as we are live over East Falls right now, and this is that Camry that police were looking for. It only took a few hours after the news conference this morning to locate this. We know the canines have been out there. Police are guarding that vehicle right now, and sources also confirm that King's family lives in that area where that vehicle was found. Back out here live, we also know that King was arrested and charged with kidnapping and I believe assault on a female acquaintance. However, Shari, that case was later dropped when investigators say the victim didn't show up for court. We're live tonight in Germantown. John Paul, Channel 6 Action News. Shari?
Yeah, and police also concerned other victims could possibly be out there. Okay, John, thanks.
Break.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that, other victims, right? So I'm trying to understand, if it's true, why is the parents helping him? Why is his parents helping him? All right, let's get back to it.
Breaking news right now, a night of swift and significant developments in the ongoing search for a missing 23-year-old woman. Chopper 6 now live over the scene in East Falls where investigators found the car they believe is in some way connected to Kada Scott's disappearance. As we speak, detectives getting a warrant to tow that car and search inside. As you can see, they're loading that car up to the tow truck right now. Now, earlier today, police announced the arrest of a man they're calling a suspect in this case, 21-year-old Keon King, now in custody and charged with kidnapping Kada Scott. And as all that played out today, investigators descended on an abandoned middle school in East Mount Airy, where we now know they found some of Scott's personal items. But as of tonight, there's still no sign of her. We have team coverage here tonight. We'll check in with John Paul at that school in just a moment. We're going to begin, though, with Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson live in East Falls. Becca, what's the scene there right now? We saw them towing away that car as we speak.
Brian, the plan is to bring it to one of the police lots. When they have a warrant, they'll be able to go inside and search it. The car, as you've probably seen, though, has heavily tinted windows, and police are having a hard time seeing inside, so that warrant and the search is going to be key. This search really heating up in the last couple hours since that police press conference where they asked for tips about what's going on. You can see the lot behind me. These are the Gypsy Lane condos in East Falls. Sources tell me that family members do live in this condo complex, family members of King. You can see now right here live on Action News, the police tow bringing this vehicle expected to be connected to Keon King out of the condos. Police say they believe at some point Kada Scott was in that car. Hours after asking for tips, police found the car tied to the kidnapping of Kada Scott in East Falls. Police say the 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry belonged to 21-year-old Keon King, who has been charged with kidnapping Scott.
310 today received the radio call that the vehicle that we were looking for is parked in the rear of the apartment parking lot.
Officers rushed to the scene coming from a massive search at the abandoned Ada Middle School in East Mount Airy, across from Awbury Arboretum, where they searched last week.
It gave us a general area as to where to search. This area right here, the evidence that we had last week, this would still be in that area.
Police say a tip led them to physical evidence there. You see officers pick up a phone case. Sources say they found a debit card with Scott's name on it there too. Scott was last seen October 4th going to an overnight shift at her job in Chestnut Hill. Police say she did report being harassed before she went missing. Investigators would not say if the person harassing her were King or comment on the length or nature of their relationship. This isn't the first time her alleged captor has been charged with this sort of crime. Police say King was charged last January for kidnapping and assault of a female acquaintance.
That case had been withdrawn by our office based on the witness failing to appear at court. I pulled that file, and after an extensive review of it, our office made the decision to refile those charges. We believe there is enough to proceed.
So King.
What was odd to me about it, that the victim, not odd that the victim didn't show up, because if I'm correct, they gave him a bail. And whatever the bail was low enough that he was able to get out. So I guess mommy and daddy was able to afford it, or whoever. I don't know. I'm just assuming, right? And when they get out, what do? They threaten the witness. They threaten the victim. So that's the reason why she didn't go to court. But I figured after having that tape, that we see this guy being a dusty creep, stalking, why they couldn't just take the case anyway? And another thing is, too, they probably wanted the victim to come to court. She's scared to come to court because she had to face him and be around him. All he's going to do is intimidate her. You remember when I had covered the Proud Dusty and how he sat up in that courtroom staring the victim's mother down? See, no. Why they couldn't do a Zoom? Possibility maybe do a Zoom. And she could talk from her home where she feels safe and she feels comfortable. See, this is why so many victims suffer in silence. Because of stuff like this. Oh, but I'm glad that they opened up the case. So he's going to have more charges and more charges. Make sure he never walked the streets again. And plus, there's other people that helped him to do this crime. We got to get those enablers too. Let's get all these dusties, or if it's dustettes, take them off the streets. Resume.
Being charged with 2 cases of kidnapping now, but the important thing here still, police are still searching for Kada Scott. They are desperately asking for the public's help here. They are proceeding, of course, as if Kada Scott is still alive. They say they have no evidence to the contrary. They're holding out hope as they tow the car away. They believe she was in. The pieces of this puzzle starting to come together. Live here in East Falls, Becca Hendrickson, Channel 6 Action News. Brian.
And we just saw that car towed away. Up next, the search inside. Becca, thank you. Let's bring in Action News' John Paul live at East Mount Airy now. John, as we just saw in Becca's report, that school right behind you was also the focus of a very active search today.
Yeah, Brian, this whole area was just crawling with police officers earlier today. This is the abandoned middle school. You can see it is overgrown. There are smashed out windows. This thing is just falling apart. Now, right now, there are a few officers left guarding it. And a short time ago, we did see maintenance crews trying to get this thing boarded up. They were even putting up some chains so you can't access the back parking lot. That is where some of that physical evidence was found. And while we've been here, neighbor after neighbor has come up to us. They're all concerned about Kada Scott.
This is one of the biggest fears that you have as a mother, not knowing where your child is.
Concern and fear gripping the area tonight as the search for 23-year-old Kada Scott drags on into an 11th day. As police descended on this abandoned middle school in Germantown, so did Scott's family. We saw them talking with investigators a short distance from the scene. However, they left a short time later.
This is too close for comfort.
Concerned neighbors also came out to this area today. Myra Coleman has been following the case, stunned by developments today that 21-year-old Keon King had been arrested and charged with her kidnapping.
This is somebody's family. This is someone's loved one. And everyone is affected by the circumstances. That someone so evil could go and kidnap her. And we just want to find her alive.
That's the focus of investigators tonight. During today's news conference, they said they are still treating this case as if she's alive.
The #1 priority is locating Ms. Scott. I just want to make that very clear. And so while we are at this stage of this now, that's our priority.
And that search does continue tonight. Brian, I have been in contact with family members. They're just too distraught to talk right now. We're live in East Mount Airy. John Paul, Channel 6 Action News. Brian?
We can certainly understand that. We'll have any new developments covered for you on Action News at 11 o'clock tonight. John, thank you.
Breaking right now, tonight, an arrest is made in connection with the disappearance of Kada Scott. And right now, police say they have found a car they believe belonged to the suspect. And Sky Fox over that scene right now in the 4,000 block of Gypsy Lane in Manayunk. Police say Kada Scott was last seen back on October 4th. And they say that a man, 21-year-old Keon King, is the one of the last people to be in communication with her. Police giving an update today on the search.
The #1 priority is locating Miss Scott. I just want to make that very clear. And so while we are at this stage of this now, that's our priority.
King has been charged with kidnapping, and police say that he was previously arrested for allegedly kidnapping another female earlier this year. As for Scott, she was last seen at her job working an overnight shift at a senior living facility in Chestnut Hill. Now, police searching an abandoned middle school today. This all developing kind of as we speak here. That's our top story at 5. I'm Jason Martinez.
And I'm Sheba Russell. We want to get back to that other big development in the case right now, that vehicle found in Manayunk. Jennifer.
Well, Sheba and Jason, there's a lot of information that has developed over the course of this day. Most recently, we came here to Gypsy Lane Condominium. It's on Gypsy Lane, just off of Lincoln Drive. And if Elaine can go over to this direction, we actually heard an update from a lieutenant with the homicide unit. And it involves the vehicle they announced this morning that they were looking for. They found it because of a tip that came in from the community. We'll show you pictures and video of it in just a second. But first, I want to show you a picture of Keon King again. He's the 21-year-old accused now in 2 kidnappings, including Kada Scott. Kada Scott is a 23-year-old, and she went missing now 11 days ago. Her family just devastated by it. Now let's get to the picture that police released this morning of a golden Toyota Camry. They say this vehicle belonged to King. They were looking for it. Had heavy front end damage to the left bumper of the vehicle. And now we can go to Sky Fox. This is video that was just taken moments ago right here at Gypsy Lane, and you can see an aerial view of the vehicle. They have now located that same car, golden Toyota Camry, that they were looking for belonging to King. This morning, authorities say that they wanted to find this car because it belongs to Keon, and they think that Kada Scott may have been inside the vehicle as well. So now it is being looked over. It's going to get towed away so they can process it for evidence. And you know, police are going to be looking at it thoroughly. We can tell you the search for Kada Scott is still ongoing. Earlier this afternoon, another community tip that came in late this morning brought police to Ada Lewis Middle School. Now, this is a school that has been closed for over a decade. We saw a large amount of police officers, multiple units from the department, including canine search teams. This is a very large property, 3-story former school. They were searching the exterior grounds as well. And police say they did find significant evidence, physical evidence that ties Scott to that location. So they believe Scott was at the abandoned school at some point over the past 11 days. Now, going back to Scott, I mean, her family, we've been talking with her for several days now. They are worried sick. They're desperate to find answers about where she is. They describe her as being intelligent, creative. She was into beauty, fashion. She even actually opened her own beauty salon at a very young age because she's only 23. The last time she was seen was at her place of work. That was Saturday night, October 4th. And that's over at a senior living facility, the Terrace at Chestnut Hill. So police say that she arrived at work just before 10 p.m. And about 20 minutes later, she was seen leaving. Police.
Well, hold up. Who do we see up in here? Derek, and what's up? Respect due to Donna, just being listening to you live from YouTube from Philadelphia. That's right, you from Philly, so you know about. This is such a sad story, Derek. Absolutely sad story. And I'm glad to see you. I hope all is well on your end. You and your lovely daughter, too. Reason.
Believe that King was the last person to speak with Scott. So now he is in custody, and I told you that he's facing charges in 2 kidnapping cases because it turns out this year he was actually arrested for kidnapping another woman. That's what he was accused of. It did show up in court a couple times, but they had to withdraw that case because the victim failed to appear. But now the DA's office believes they have enough evidence pointing to a pattern of behavior. So they're refiling charges from that first case. Now Scott's case, they believe they have enough to charge him with kidnapping in Scott's case as well. But, you know, police at this point, they say they are hopeful they can find Scott alive. They say the community tips have been tremendous, so they're asking the public to keep coming forward. Even if it's insignificant in their view, it might be something very important. And obviously today just proves that the information being shared with police is making a difference. And guys, back out here live, Gypsy Lane. police are now just waiting again for that tow truck to come here to Gypsy Lane condominium. We've been seeing people who live at this, condo development pulling in, asking what's going on, because obviously there are a lot of police here, a lot of stations here, including Fox 29. And we'll continue to stay out here and bring you the very, very latest. Guys.
So, Jennifer, the thinking here is that police do not want to search this vehicle, which is heavily tinted, until they're able to tow it from the scene.
Exactly. We did ask.
Red flag, ladies. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Any man that's running around here driving around with I'm not talking about slightly in between. I'm talking about dark tinted windows that cops gonna pull over. If he's not some sort of celebrity that has to protect himself or whatever, so because the fans get a little crazy. He's up to no good. He's a Dusty. Nobody should be driving around with some dark black tinted windows. Are you kidding me? Let's resume. Just give me all a little tip.
They said they can't look inside because, as you mentioned, it is really darkly tinted windows. So they're actually going to tow it, and then they're going to process it off-site.
All right, much more to come here on this breaking case here. Nice reporting there, Jennifer Lee. Thank you very much.
A key piece of evidence is locked up, and so is the man charged with.
What you say about your daughter? Daughter is 21 and a junior in college. You go, girl. Sadly, growing up in Mississippi, the phrase went, "If I can't have you, can't nobody have you." Oh, yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. But I'm so happy for your daughter and blessings to her. You go, girl. What Rainy Woman said, he's been a psycho weirdo. His family knows it. They allow it. Exactly. If all of this stuff they saying is true, well, I think the news reports is basically facts. Why are you helping this Dusty? Why? I mean, I know it hurts when, as a parent, when you find out your child turns out to be a piece of crap. They turn out to be a loser, a lowlife. It does hurt. But it's okay. You can just say you did the best that you can and just leave them to Lucifer. Let Lucifer take care of them. Because that's where they belong. That's who they want to serve. Because they sure as heck ain't serving the Lord. I'm just saying. Let's get back to it.
Kidnapping a Philadelphia woman. Thank you for joining us. I'm Fred Shropshire.
And I'm Jacqueline London. The search for Kada Scott will soon enter its 12th day. Let's take a look at how the critical moments in the case started, beginning with her disappearance. It all began back on October 4th when Scott vanished during her overnight shift at a nursing home in Northeast Philadelphia. Yesterday, Keon King turned himself into police. His arrest and charges were announced today, charged with kidnapping.
About 5 hours later, police tracked down King's car to an apartment complex. It was towed to a garage where investigators will search it for evidence. NBC 10 Shire Arias is live in North Philadelphia outside the garage housing the car. Shire, you spoke with Scott's family tonight, didn't you?
I did, and I got to tell you, they are very, very sad, distraught with all of the information that they just received today. Now, police put out the word that they were looking for this car, and literally today, just hours later, they were able to locate that vehicle, and it was brought here to North Philadelphia, where now they're going to be looking at this car for more evidence.
We're making leeway, but it's also dead ends, so we just looking for something solid, just trying to keep our energy positive. Like, my brother said, just hoping to bring my niece home safe.
The family of missing.
I didn't get a picture, but if you pull up the picture of her father, she looked just like her father, but just a female version. That's his little mini-me. And he lost his little angel. His angel was on the right path, doing the right things. But unfortunately, a Dusty crossed her path. Unfortunate. Ladies, be careful. Resume.
23-year-old Kada Scott tells NBC 10 they refuse to lose hope, believing she's still alive. Her uncle reacted tonight to the arrest of 21-year-old Keon King, charged with kidnapping Kada.
A rage, honestly, and he's definitely, it's why?
The investigation took a new turn today after police announced King's arrest shortly after a tip led officers to an abandoned elementary school in Germantown, where they spent hours canvassing the area with canine units. They found evidence outside the school linking Scott to that location. Kada Scott was last seen October 4th during her overnight shift at an assisted living facility in Chestnut Hill. Investigators believe King was the last person to see her and say the two knew each other prior to her disappearance. While detectives searched Germantown, another tip came in. This time, it took police to East Falls. That's where police found King's vehicle, a 1999 Toyota Camry, parked inside an apartment complex.
Crazy, scary, hoping that she's still okay.
Amy, who lives in the complex, says she was shocked. The car connected to the case was found right where she lives.
But a neighbor that I know who called the tip in, I can't believe he came out and he noticed it.
Amy says the complex has strict security.
You pull up to the gate and you either have a sticker on your car that is given to you when you buy or rent, and then you have a key card.
Earlier this year, King was charged with kidnapping another woman, but the case was withdrawn. Those charges have now been refiled following his arrest in connection with Kada's disappearance.
And what also goes through my mind is how many other people has he maybe done this to?
Kada's family wants to tell the public that they just want people to put themselves in their position and that any information is valuable. Anyone with information is asked to contact officials. They are still treating this case as a missing person case. In North Philadelphia, Shaira Arias, NBC 10 News.
Yeah, and that case is from earlier this year and focused on an area in North Philadelphia. The district attorney's office has reinstated those charges as authorities work to find Kada Scott.
We have yet to locate her. And that is the top priority.
Prosecutors and police are working around the clock to bring Kada Scott home. And tonight we are learning new details about a separate kidnapping charge brought against Keon King earlier this year. He's the man who authorities charged yesterday with kidnapping the 23-year-old woman who disappeared on October 4th.
What we're seeing and what we continue to see is a clear pattern, of violence of this type of behavior. And so that's something that we plan to pursue to the fullest extent of our abilities.
Assistant District Attorney Ashley Kozlowski is referring to this cell phone video shared on social media that's now being used as part of their investigation. Officials say it was taken earlier this year at a home in North Philadelphia.
What you're seeing in the video is a cell phone video that was taken by a person that was inside that residence. Keon King is, and you can see his face, it's him on the video. He hops a fence and tries to gain entry into that property. He comes back twice, trying to gain entry into that property through a window.
Kozlowski says at some point after the video ends, the woman and another person in the home stepped outside, and that's when it's alleged King kidnapped her while his 2-year-old child was in the back seat.
He grabbed the victim, put her in the car, and drove away and assaulted her.
The charges were ultimately withdrawn after authorities say the woman didn't show up to court. As for the search for Kada Scott today, investigators focused their attention on King's 1999 Toyota Camry, which they believe Scott was in before she disappeared. Police sources also say they recovered evidence connected to Scott at an abandoned school in Germantown after their search there yesterday.
And police and prosecutors say there were no significant reportable developments today. A lot of work is being done behind the scenes as they work to solve this mystery. Live in Center City, I'm Brian Sheehan, NBC 10 News.
And be the first to know when NBC 10 learns new information on the story. Download the NBC 10 app and you can have breaking news alerts sent right to your phone.
New details on the man charged in the disappearance of Kada Scott. 21-year-old Keon King was in court today, now being held on $2.5 million bail. And as that case plays out, authorities now still searching for any sign of Kada Scott. It is Thursday afternoon. I'm Brian Taft.
And I'm Sarah Bloomquist. The big story on Action News is the arraignment of Keon King. He's facing kidnapping and other charges related to Scott's disappearance.
Raining woman, that could be a very strong possibility. This Dusty was trying to get with her because I think they said that he was talking to a friend who was asking about her, like I think her neighbor or something. He probably did flip out. Probably did. She don't want you. You're a loser. She got too much going for herself. What the heck she wants to spend the rest of her life with a Dusty? For what? What is it going to benefit her? You can't provide. You can't protect. All you're going to do is give her bad energy. All these Dusties figure, I slap a little wood on her. Oh, she good. I know how to do it in the bed. That's all they good for. They F-boys. That's it. There's more to life than that. What else can you provide for a woman besides F? What else? What? You give her a little, 10 or 15 minutes? And woo, woo, woo. You think you're doing something? Oh, get out of here. Let's resume.
On October 4th,
She has still not been found.
Well, today we learn more about the investigation to a previous kidnapping charge connected to King earlier this year. Action News reporter Annie McCormick live at Philadelphia Police Headquarters this afternoon with the latest. Another day of significant developments, Annie.
I got to keep pausing. I'm loving this conversation with Rain and Woman. And other women envied her. Because there's rumors that it's a possibility that it could have been a woman that could have helped them move the body. So this Dusty had a couple of dustettes. Possibility? We don't know. But the sad part about it is, Rain and Woman, did you know that when he was stalking that woman, that little videotape with him sticking his head through the window, he had his 2-year-old child in the car. His 2-year-old child. Who's the woman that laid down with him and kept his baby? Who's the woman that laid down with him without a condom? Be careful who you choose to be your child's father. Please, be very careful. Please, and be extremely careful. All right, let's get back to it.
Brian, that's right. And King arraigned this morning, now facing that hefty bail of $2.5 million. Today, though, authorities are still looking for the missing woman.
Keon King arraigned this morning and facing charges of kidnapping in connection with the disappearance of 23-year-old Kada Scott. The 21-year-old is facing a second charge of kidnapping in connection with a January 2025 case. Sources say this video circulating on social media stems from that same incident. The video is part of the investigation. Yesterday, the district attorney's office explained why the case was ultimately dropped.
He did have a previous case. It was a 2025 case for very similar conduct, strangulation and kidnapping. That case had been withdrawn by our office based on the witness failing to appear at court.
Today, homicide detectives were back in the area of yesterday's extensive searching for video. Wednesday, they combed the grounds near the closed Ada Middle School in East Mount Airy, across from the Awbury Arboretum, where they searched last week. Police say a tip led them to physical evidence there, including a phone case, and sources say they found a debit card with Scott's name on it. Police also took King's car, a 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry, from his mother's condo complex in East Falls. Crime scene investigators are processing it today. Scott was last seen October 4th, going to an overnight shift at her job in Chestnut Hill. Police say she told loved ones she was being harassed before she went missing. Investigators would not say if the person harassing her was King or comment on their relationship.
And Brian and Sarah, Scott has now been missing 12 days. Authorities are emphasizing, even though you're seeing in the news word of a suspect, they still need any tip that the public may have. Again, 215-686-TIPS. Now reporting live outside of Philadelphia Police Headquarters, Annie McCormick, Channel 6, Action News.
Now, meanwhile, the search goes on. Annie, thank you.
Fox 29 News has learned that 21-year-old Keon King has an active protection from abuse order against him, recently from a third young female, in effect until 2027.
The Dusty is on a roll. So he has an active protective order. So if it is true, like I said, I could be completely wrong. And if I am, I truly apologize and I stand to be corrected. So your loser 21-year-old son got all of this going on and you're going to help him? Your parents is going to help you? And I think this is the reason why he turned himself in. Probably because if his father is a detective that I'm hearing, I don't know, those rumors, it could be true, might not be. I don't know for sure. If anybody knows, please let me know. Put in the comment section or email me because I'm very curious. So that could be the reason why he turned himself in. He probably said, oh, just turn yourself in. This is what you do. Don't talk. Don't say anything. Oh, boy. Dusty Epidemic. Reason.
That's in addition to the multiple kidnapping and related charges he's being held on $2.5 million bail on now in the disappearance of Kada Scott and the prior kidnapping case from earlier this year that was dismissed initially by the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office.
Derek, I don't understand that either. How come there was no cameras in the parking lot, Derek? I don't understand that. That was the most weirdest thing. And at an assisted living facility, where you have seniors, people that's disabled, you would have cameras everywhere. And not in the parking lot? Not even a cheap camera that's fuzzy and black and white, but something? Oh, I bet you, Derek, they got a bunch of cameras now. Top line cameras, HD, 4K, everything. Raina one, what you saying here? He's not the only psycho weirdo in the family. Ooh, ooh, exactly. Summer. Ooh, oh, your name. Yeah, makes no. It exactly doesn't make any sense. And welcome to Donna Just Being Real. It doesn't make any sense. I couldn't believe it. I was like, assisted living place. Ain't no cameras in the parking lot. Even a cheap camera. It might be a camera that they bought in 2005, but it still got a little, a little something, just a little something. All right, let's get back to it, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for engaging, and thank you for hitting the like. Resume.
It was refiled this week after King's arrest in the Kada Scott case.
Gary, call the cops.
Philadelphia police sources tell me this video, posted on social media and shared widely following
I had to rewind just a pinch because I want you to see how this loser was walking. They said he came out of there. I don't have the other clip, whatever. But he came out of there like he doing karate. Hiya! Like he's some sort of ninja. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. You low life, you piece of crap. I'm angry. I really am. Really am angry.
social media and shared widely following King's arrest this week is part of the evidence in the first kidnapping case, dismissed by the DA's office, showing him walk up to the victim's window.
Keon out here.
Law enforcement sources tell me King was also a suspect in a prior rape case involving yet another woman, adding more to their belief that King has a pattern of very bad behavior with women. Sources tell me investigators found Kada's glasses, her iPad case, and her cell phone case, along with her bank card, in the search of this no longer used Philadelphia public school building yesterday. That's 2.5 miles, mostly down Stanton Avenue, from where she worked and was last seen. While King hasn't been as cooperative as detectives would like, sources tell me the young man that she was on a date with the night she was last seen did cooperate. She went on a date here to Topgolf Saturday night, arriving home at 9:45 p.m., just 5 minutes before her mother saw her leave for work. That young man told police how easily approachable Kada is, based on how he met her by just rolling down his car window, and was able to easily strike up a conversation with her.
This is day 12 of Kada not being with us. And as you know, each day the desperation grows.
Kada's father on Good Day Philadelphia for the second straight morning, hoping to keep the public on alert for her.
You see the father? She looked look at this picture of her over here. Look at this picture of her. She looked just like her father, just a female version. And he lost his angel. His angel was on the right path, doing the right things. Dusty crossed the path.
Brought his two brothers with him, hoping to reach the person who may know King and may know what happened after police say she got into King's car.
There's one person out there that is a good friend of his that, has a heart. And understands the severity of this and speaks up.
Dad Kevin Scott wearing his daughter's name on his hooded sweatshirt over his heart, hoping someone watching with a good heart will hear him.
Let my daughter go. Bring my daughter back home. She has loved ones, family, friends that all care about her. She has a bright head on the shoulders, a great future.
I don't mean to jump off topic, but you got a good-looking family there. All your brothers? Wow. Okay. And strong brothers. Her father's strong? Her uncles? Wow. Yeah, she was protected. She was on the right path. Resume.
People make mistakes. If she's alive and breathing, just get her back home,
We want her home. At the Criminal Justice Center, Steve Keeley, Fox 29 News.
Good evening, Jackie. Police say this video is very important. Now, what the district attorney's office is trying to prove is that there is a pattern of violence in King's behavior. A viral video circulating on social media is giving us a new look.
Look, you saw the karate? You see the karate?
23-year-old Kada Scott.
Let's rewind. I gotta rewind.
2 weeks. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office confirms the cell phone video shows 21-year-old Keon King outside the home of a woman 2 weeks. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office confirms the cell phone video Look at the man accused of kidnapping 23-year-old Kada Scott, who has now been missing for nearly 2 weeks. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office confirms the cell phone video shows 21-year-old Keon King outside the home of a woman he's accused of kidnapping and assaulting earlier this year.
What we're seeing and what we continue to see is a clear pattern, of violence of this type of behavior.
Investigators say the woman who recorded the video is heard warning someone inside the home to call police while pleading with King to leave. King, dressed in a black hooded jacket, is seen hopping the backyard fence, then peering into the home through a window. Officials say he attempted to get inside multiple times. According to investigators, this video was recorded about an hour before that woman was kidnapped.
Ultimately, when the complaining witness and eyewitness on that case stepped out of the property later that day is when the kidnapping occurred, and he grabbed the victim, put her in the car, and drove away and assaulted her.
Prosecutors also say children were present during the incident.
There were definitely children in the house when that happened, and the information we have is also that his 2-year-old was in the car when the kidnapping occurred.
The original kidnapping charge.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear that? The Dusty kidnapped the girl, essayed her, and he had his 2-year-old child in the car. I tell you, these Dusties can go to the limits, boy. They just don't have... Ooh! Resume.
Was withdrawn in May when the victim didn't appear in court, but following the investigation into Kada Scott's disappearance, those charges have now been refiled. Scott disappeared on October 4th. On Tuesday, King turned himself in. The next day, police canvassed an abandoned school in Germantown, recovering evidence now linked to Scott. Just hours later, King's car was found abandoned at an apartment complex in East Falls. That car is now considered a critical piece of evidence in the investigation into her disappearance. Officials say their focus is still the same focus they've had since October 4th, and that is to bring Kada Scott home. So any information of her whereabouts is important. For anyone who has that information, they're asking people to simply call 911. In Center City, Shaira Arias, NBC 10 News.
Search for 23-year-old Kada Scott of Philadelphia is nearing 2 weeks and developing overnight. Her family announced a $10,000 reward for information that leads to her safe recovery. Action News reporter Catherine Scott has been following the search and joins us live at the Kern Fromm Hall Correctional Facility, where her accused abductor remains in custody. Catherine.
That's right, Matt. Keon King remains here at Kern Fromm Hall. Meanwhile, the search continues today. Her family is so worried about her. They've raised reward money, hoping for her safe return.
I need my daughter home, so that's the only thing I'm looking forward to.
It's been nearly 2 weeks since 23-year-old Kada Scott vanished, and her father says he'll not stop until she's home. Her family has been raising a reward fund for information leading to her safe return. 21-year-old Keon King has been arraigned, charged for kidnapping and her disappearance, now being held on $2.5 million bail. He's also facing a second kidnapping charge in connection with a separate case from January 2025. Sources say this video circulating on social media stems from that same incident and is part of the investigation. On Wednesday, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office explained why the case had been withdrawn when the witness did not appear in court.
I pulled that file, and after an extensive review of it, our office made the decision to refile those charges. We believe there is enough to proceed, and we also do believe that this is a pattern for this person.
Yesterday, homicide detectives returned to East Mount Airy to search for surveillance video near the grounds of the abandoned middle school. They scoured on Wednesday and found a phone case and Scott's debit card, according to sources. King's car was located Wednesday at his mother's condo complex in East Falls and towed for evidence. Police believe King was the last person in contact with Scott, but did not say how they knew each other. Scott told friends she was being harassed days before her disappearance. Investigators did not say whether it was King who was harassing Scott. King is expected back in court early next month. Police want to hear from you if you have any tips. Live in Holmesburg, Catherine Scott, Channel 6 Action News.
Thank you, Catherine.
Okay, this is one of the press conference. We're going to watch some of this. Let me fast forward because in the beginning it's nothing here. So I'm going to fast forward to when they start talking. It's going to be silent for a second.
Everybody ready? Where's Rep Carol? Oh, there you are. Why don't you come up here? Is everybody ready? Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here.
We have called this press availability in order to address any questions the media may have or anything else that we can do to support the ongoing investigation of the kidnapping of Kada Scott, the efforts to safely locate her, the efforts to further this investigation in this particular case. I just want to start by saying October.
This one, if I'm correct, is the first press conference, not the latest one. This is the first press conference. Okay, just want to let you know so you know what you're watching. Reason.
Is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Our prosecutors, victim advocates, and law enforcement staff are deeply concerned about every victim and survivor of crime, and those who are victims of domestic violence are extremely important to us. We will be giving a few more details about the investigation and prosecution of defendant Keon King. Most of the details of the case you already know. You're aware of them. But I want to make sure that we are keeping the public updated, and I want to make sure that people understand that the FBI, the Philadelphia Police Department, the DA's office, other law enforcement partners are working 24/7 on this case, are doing everything we can with the remarkable, unusual, extraordinary support and help coming from the public to address the situation we all face. I think part of what is really, perhaps what has animated so much community help, such an unprecedented effort that we are seeing by the community to get us information, to get the police information, anonymous tips, tips about cars, tips about evidence locations, things of that sort. We even have some information that additional victims of this defendant from incidents that never resulted in an arrest are starting to come forward. I think part of what is happening here, and it's good news, is that young people are seeing themselves in Kada. Older people see their kids, and they would like to know that everyone is doing everything they can, no matter how perfectly or imperfectly, but they're doing everything they can to try to deal with this horrific situation. I am here to say to the public that I am fully committed to there being justice in this case, to every single thing that can be done for Kada being done now. I'm not alone in that. I can tell you that the mayor has gone to somewhat extraordinary and very impressive lengths to try to address the needs of this family, to make sure that this investigation goes as smoothly as possible. Police Commissioner, I know, feels the same way. He and I have been on the phone a couple times speaking directly about certain aspects of this case over the past several days. I can't tell you exactly what that was about because, as I said, the investigation is ongoing, but it was about stuff that mattered. It was about stuff that was important, and we were very much of the same mind about how to address that issue. If there's anything that I hope to gain by this press conference, it is frankly part of what was gained by the last one, the one that was done by PPD middle of last week, and that is to get more help. It is to have more people come forward. It is to get more information. We have reason to believe that will happen because it's already happened. We have reason to believe that will happen because of the deep interest people have in Kada Scott and the deep interest they have in her safety and getting justice for what has occurred here. For anyone who has additional information, please reach out to the Philadelphia Police Department at 215-686-TIPS, 215-686-TIPS, or please contact us at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, 215-686-8000. I'd like to acknowledge now some of the good people who are here. We have with us State Representative Andre Carroll of the 201st Legislative District. Representative Carroll has been deeply interested in criminal justice, including criminal justice for young people for many years, has worked closely with our office at times, and as it happens, knew Kada Scott in ways that he can certainly explain. Representative Carroll will be speaking. We have First ADA Robert Listenby here. We have ADA Ashley Tizlowski, who is in the DAO's Homicide Non-Fatal Shooting Unit, and is taking the lead on a lot of the efforts right now with the assistance of others in this office. ADA Bob Wainwright, who is the chief of the DAO's Homicide Non-Fatal Shooting Unit, is here. ADA Bill Fritzy, chief of the DAO's Gun Violence Task Force, which also is responsible for some of the most important technological forensics that we do, and they will continue to be very important in this investigation, is here. We have Mariel Dela Cruz, director of DAO's Victim Services Unit, Donna Wood, director of the DAO's Relocation Unit, here. I do want to take a moment here to thank Ashley for her deep dive into this case. This is not something she had early on. This is something that came to her desk more recently. But I can tell you, she ain't sleeping. She's on the phone with me all the time, at every hour, as she should be, because there's not an hour that should pass without additional effort on this case. She has consistently shown her professionalism, her integrity in dealing with this case, and I am delighted that she will be taking point on this with a whole team from this office. All right. I do want to talk about a couple things that I don't think have been heavily covered or considered about this case yet, or if they haven't, maybe they haven't been fully reported, but I want to share this with you because it may be of help to you in the media. First of all, I want you to understand that when this case began, it was a, I'm sorry. When this case began, well, let me rephrase that. There's been some discussion about a prior case involving defendant Keon King, involving a different victim, a case that ended at the preliminary hearing. And there has been discussion about some of the events that occurred there. There is no doubt that there's a list of people in this office, outside of this office, and no, it doesn't matter who they are, but there's a list of people who made a lot of good decisions and a couple decisions that could have been made better, that could have been better, right? There's certainly that has been discussed. But we also can't skip over some of the systemic issues here that are not small. This is a case in which, in the prior matter, we requested $1 million bail, $1 million minus $1 bail, and we did not get it. We don't set bail, judges do. The bail was set at $200,000. Why? Well, probably because the commissioner who set the bail probably imagined that was enough to hold Keon King in custody. It wasn't. Keon King had access to a lot of money, and so he paid $20,000 bail almost immediately and was out of custody as a consequence of that, right?
I wonder where did he get that money from, ladies and gentlemen? Enabler parents? Or he's a street dude, if you know what I'm talking about. Dusty, 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 Dusty. Ladies, again, it's a dusty epidemic out here. Be careful. Yeah, I just didn't want to say it, but you got it. You got it. Reason. Isaac.
This is the problem with cash bail. This is what we've been talking about for a long time. It's not just whether or not he's in custody immediately. It's also what is the situation of a victim who has to go to court, a victim of domestic violence who has to go to court, knowing that the defendant will walk out the same door she came in. What is the situation? How likely is that victim to come to court if that victim knows that that victim is dealing with a profoundly dangerous, profoundly violent person? And we all know the answer. That victim is more likely to walk in the door of the courthouse and testify if that victim knows that the defendant can't walk out right behind her if he's locked up. Well, he wasn't locked up here. And so sadly what happened was there were two court dates, at the first of which the judge announced that it must be tried next time, and the victim did not arrive on both of those occasions. An eyewitness did not arrive on both of those occasions. I don't say that to say that's the whole story, but it's not, but it is part of the story. And it is a part of the story that would be remedied if we got away from this, frankly, nutty notion that bail is a good way to deal with these situations. Someone profoundly dangerous should be held. I don't care if they've got a lot of money. Someone who's not dangerous at all shouldn't be held. I don't care if they're poor. That should have nothing to do with this. Money should be divorced from determining who stays in custody, as has been done in the District of Columbia and many other states. It is a successful system. Now, without pointing a finger at any individual, I am pointing a finger at the cash bail system because its role in this is, frankly, very problematic. I also want you to know that there has been, and there continues to be, extensive victim support and outreach to the victim in the first case. That's just a fact. And we will continue to do that. Some of it I cannot even speak about because it would be inappropriate for me to talk about some of the measures that this office has engaged in for her protection. And not yesterday, a long time ago, okay? I don't want anyone to believe or to think that our victim services people and others who do specialized work in that field don't care, because they care deeply. They've done a lot. They've done things that, just like the investigation, it would be improper for me to talk about. But perhaps we can talk about it when this case is concluded or at a later time. We can't necessarily do that. Finally, I just want to say this. Before we hear from Representative Carroll and then move to Q&A. We are encouraging, we are asking other victims of this defendant, Keon King, the gentleman to your left, my right. We are encouraging you to come forward. We have information to indicate that there may have been other victims. We are asking you to come forward. Contact our office. Contact the Philadelphia Police Department. Some portion of this has already happened after the last press conference. We are asking you to protect others by coming forward. And we are telling you that all the resources of this city will be at your disposal to make sure that you are safe in this situation. Keon King is in jail now. He's in jail on, what is it, $2.5 million bail? A sum of money he's not able to come up with, despite the fact that he has access to money.
Yeah, I was talking about this earlier, T. Plus, this bad guy's dad is a detective. So I guess it's true, because I've been hearing. I didn't know for sure if it was. Okay, I guess it's possibly true. Detective. I bet he has some influence on getting his evil son out of serious prison. I didn't even think about that. Because in life, you never know who knows who's friends with who. You know, basically in life, you can be very successful. It's about who you know. It's not what you know and what skills you have, who you know that can, open the doors for you. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get back to this press conference. Thank you for that information. Mm-hmm. Dusty. Can't stand this guy.
You do not have to worry about his coming out of the courthouse door right behind you, because he's not coming out of that courthouse door right behind you. And if I have my way, he's not going to be coming out of a prison door either. That's how serious this gets. So I'm asking you, please come forward. All Philadelphians, please come forward. Let us know any information you have, whether it's information about a car, whether it's information about a phone, whether it's information about a piece of evidence, information about another victim, something that you saw in social media. Even if you don't know that it's accurate or true, but you know you heard it or saw it, we're asking you to come forward. It is my pleasure at this time, before we get to question and answer format, it's my pleasure to call Representative Andre Carroll, who I know has some interesting and important remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. First and foremost, I want to thank the DA's office. I want to thank the FBI. I thank the homicide detectives who's assisted with this case so far. I also want to censor my remarks and concerns, thoughts, and prayers for the family. I recognize that we're talking about a 23-year-old young black woman. I've had opportunity as a criminal justice advocate prior to being elected to State House to work with young folks who have been tried in the city. And I've had opportunity also to get to meet the victims' families. And walking in courtrooms, there's a divide of both. But what I recognize is that, I've had an opportunity to build relationships across this aisle, and I recognize in this moment that there is a family right now that is praying for the safe return of this young lady. I've worked with colleagues in the House, in particular Gina Curry, who introduced legislation around the Ebony Alert. Far too often in this country, when it comes to young black girls and women, we do not see this kind of outpour. In this case right now, we recognize that everyone in the city, from the community to law enforcement to elected officials, are committed to the return of Kada Scott. I want to thank you, Philadelphia, for everything that you've done so far at this point on behalf of the family, but I also want to continue to encourage you guys, if you see something, if you know something, say something. The DA's office, our judicial system, the criminal justice system, they can only do what they have access to as far as information. Hope cannot be relinquished yet. We can get Kada home. I have had opportunity to meet Kada over the summer when Kada was running for Miss Philadelphia. Very timid, beautiful young lady. I am a loss for words as to how do we get to this point. It's not too late, guys. This family I've had the opportunity to talk to, they want their daughter, their sister, their cousin, their neighbor home. I'll close with this. Miss Kada Scott ran to be Miss Philadelphia. We're counting on Philadelphia in this moment right now to help return her back home to her family. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rep. Carroll. One final comment before we go to Q&A. The sad truth is that the story of Kada is not just about Kada. It's about a lot of other women. It's about a lot of other women who don't report what has happened to them out of fear or because of the unique dynamics of domestic violence or for some other reason. It's about a lot of other women who do report and then for a wide variety of reasons, including fear, but not just fear, don't go to court, please report. Please come to court. Please let us try to do our very best with your case to protect you. Please. You are not just protecting yourself from things that can get a whole lot worse than you imagine, but you are protecting every other woman in Philadelphia. And you're doing it at a time when, sadly, the national climate is not fair to women. So I am saying to every woman out there, every girl out there, every other person who may have been a victim of domestic violence of any sort, please let the Philadelphia Police Department, the FBI, the Philadelphia DA's office, please let all of us, and the mayor, please let all of us support you by coming forward. We will do justice. We will make sure.
It's not that easy for women. Men can always say that, just say something, go ahead, do. It's not that easy. It really isn't that easy. I wish it was that easy. I think so many people watch too many TV shows, movies, and they think it's that easy. It's not. You let the guy out on bail, on a low bail. He got out. He threatened the victim. He threatened the witness. So he was like, the victim's like, I'm not going to go. She was trying to save her life. And that's a lot of women out here like that. A lot, as we speaking. That suffers in silence. Resume.
Sure that the accountability fits the act, and we will make sure, as best we possibly can, that there is the right outcome. All right. With that, we will move to Q&A. Channel 3 CBS, Joe Holden.
Mr. Crowther, thanks. So if bail in the January incident, when it came before the courts in April, was not sufficient, your office could have moved for bail modification, correct?
You have the option of trying to do what is often a midnight or 3 o'clock in the morning telephonic appeal to a municipal court judge. The unfortunate reality of this is that some, but not all of these judges don't want you calling them in the middle of the night. And if you do, they lower the bail. They don't raise it. They don't leave it. They lower it. So it is always a complex strategic.
I have to give this man a lot of respect for saying this. And this is what I always said, when it's dealing with the courtroom and dealing with the courts, everybody's like, oh, this is supposed to happen. No, you don't know who's friends with who and how a person feels. You're dealing with people. When you're dealing with people, you deal with people with different personalities. You might not do something, but that person will do it. You might not do that, but that person will do it. So you have to keep that in mind when you're dealing with different personalities. Everybody's not going to follow the rules. And another thing, in the courthouse, you don't know who's having sex with who in the chambers. And as give that person a little favor. You don't know if the judge is sitting around here having an affair with the prosecution. So, of course, the judge is going to make sure the evidence that the prosecution want to go to the jury is going to go, instead of being fair to the defense. I'm just bringing up scenarios, but this stuff does happen in all workplaces. And it does happen in the courtroom. Just want to give you all a little information. Resume.
Decision.
Why is that? Why would they lower the bail? Because of a phone call?
Because they don't want to be awakened in the middle of the night, because they don't want appeals. Now, there are a lot of great MC judges, a lot of great CP judges as well. These appeals go to municipal court judges. So I don't want you to think in any way I'm saying that's what all of them do. But we know that it's done. And we know that it's done way too often. And therefore, you have to make strategic decisions about who that judge is, what hour of the day it is, whether there's any realistic possibility of increasing the bail. And we are still locked into a cash bail system in which some things that were done in 1978 seem to make sense to some of those judges now. So it's always a delicate balance, because the last thing you want, who knows exactly how much money Keon King.
When you're a judge, doctor, I guess lawyer, certain jobs that you went to college, you got a degree and all this, you paid all these student loans and stuff. Your job is 24 hours. You're on a 24-hour call. It's not like you go to a job, you punch in at 9, you leave at 5 or whatever the time your schedule is, and you're done for the day. That's it. They can't call you. But when you're a judge, when you're a judge, you are on 24-hour call. You're going to get a call 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because something came up. We need a search warrant and we need your approval because we got to get in this guy's house quick before time runs out, before he runs off. And I understand, judges and doctors and stuff, they have a life. Yes, I understand. But when you choose this type of career, I hate to say it, but you on 24-hour call. Now, if you on vacation or you on sick leave, that's when they'll have somebody take your place and another judge will take over. They can look up Judge Penn. I'm just making up something. Judge Penn. They see he's on vacation. He's sick. So he can't really help you. But obviously there's going to be another judge that will step into place that you can contact. Instead of a judge sitting there who has an attitude. And I respect him for letting us know this, because I already knew about all this kind of stuff that's happening behind the scenes. And I'm glad that he brought it out there and he took a chance, because I know now he's in a hot seat, because he done opened up Pandora's box right now. So he's in a hot seat. I know he is. But he's mad. He's angry because he knows that this Dusty should have never been back on the streets again. And this young woman would not be unalive. All right, let's resume. We got more to cover. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in here with me tonight. Good.
Has when he first gets arrested, the last thing you want to do is to appeal it and then drive the bail number down so he's able to get out when you were asking for 5 times what it ultimately turned out to be.
What's the access to cash? Can you elaborate on how we find that?
That is an aspect of this investigation that I cannot really get into right now, but I can tell you there is reason to think that he had access to cash. I'm going to go in order, and if I miss you, please remind me, okay? All right, let me see. Becca Hendrickson, 6ABC.
Yeah, Mr. President, what does bail have to do with your office's decision to not prosecute anyway then and drop this case?
So the actual history of this case, as I understand it, and please understand, we've been trying to dig into this to make sure we are accurate. If anything I say turns out to be inaccurate, we're going to correct it, okay? But my understanding of what happened with this case is that it involved an eyewitness, it involved a complainant, there was some other video evidence that was available, and at the first listing, eyewitness was subpoenaed, the complainant was subpoenaed. At the second listing, once again, there were subpoenas. We believe that at least 3 of those 4 subpoenas, all of which went to the addresses that were identified, we believe at least 3 of those 4 got to their destination. There were multiple phone calls that were made, phone calls to the victim in those earlier cases, and they were not just made by one person. It was made not only by the prosecutors handling the case on both dates, but also made by people in victim services. Those calls resulted in voicemails being left that were detailed. They were not returned at that time. The eyewitness did return a phone call. The eyewitness expressed that she was reluctant to come to court. I think that's a fair statement. Efforts were made to get the eyewitness to encourage the complainant to come to court. And ultimately, what occurred is the eyewitness did not show up for the first listing, neither did the complainant. The eyewitness did not show up for the second listing after a judge had marked it must be tried, neither did the complainant. We could have done better in that a really sophisticated approach to the case would have been to try to put it all on with video evidence. That is not usually an easy thing to do. I would say with 20/20 hindsight, it's something that could have been done. And I own that. I mean, ultimately, the buck stops here. It's not my job to throw other people under the bus. If there's a decision that is poor, and I believe that that was an incorrect decision, then we have to own it, and we have to try to do better moving forward in order to change that. But what I am saying about the bail is that it could have made all the difference in the world at the first listing for that eyewitness. If this man was locked up, she might have showed. It could have made all the difference in the world at the first listing if this man was locked up. The complainant might have showed, and the same is true for both of them at the second listing. Think about it. This is obviously someone who at this point we understand. But the eyewitness and the defendant knew him, okay? We know what he's capable of now. They knew at some level what he was capable of then. And the reason they had to worry that he was going to come out of the same door they went in the courthouse right after they testified against him is because he was on bail. So there is a direct link between the effect of bail and the appearance of witnesses, and that's the point I'm trying to make.
Is there a number of times that someone has to be subpoenaed and replied with before that decision is made throughout the case?
So what actually happened in this case, and I appreciate you trying to understand, so if I can be of help, that's what I want to do. What actually happened is a judge of the municipal court at the first listing marked it must be tried. okay? That is an order, and it's an order that applies to the next judge that says you must try this case on this date. If you're not ready, if you don't put it up, it gets thrown out. That's what that order means. Under Pennsylvania law, if a judge at the same level, and it was a municipal court judge at the first listing, it was a municipal court judge at the second listing, if a judge at the same level makes that decision, under the law, it's not even supposed to be up to the second judge, unless there's some big change of situation. This judge is supposed to follow that judge. So from the moment that the first judge said this must be tried next time, for whatever reason, and I'm not going to speculate, I don't know why the judge said that, that was essentially a predetermined outcome if the case was not put up. The process of dismissal, withdrawal, whatever, is effectively the same thing. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to revive a case later if you drop the case rather than having a judge dismiss it, just for procedural reasons. But that's essentially how that worked. All right, let me see. Is it Shaira Arias? Shaira, my apologies.
Thank you for having me, Professor. Two questions. And this is related to Kada Scott's investigation. And this is because a lot of people have been asking. The charges have been filed for kidnapping. What new details can you give us about what exactly happened on October 4th, besides the fact that they were possibly last seen together, that folks could maybe get a hint, an idea of what exactly happened on October 4th, that you would be able to move forward with those charges of kidnapping? What happened that evening?
All right, if you'll just allow me 1 second to speak with Ashley.
So in terms of the investigation itself, unfortunately, we don't have any new information since the last time I spoke with you all. At this point, it is still very much an active investigation. So my answer is going to be similar to what I've already said, which is
I'm just going to call it classic. And welcome to Donna Just Being Real. I agree with you. This dude got a long rap sheet. He should have been kept locked up a long time ago. Yep. I agree. Totally agree. Should have. Right? And he's only 21 years old living like this. 21! Reigning woman, 21. Oh boy, resume.
the information that we know is that he was the last person with her. He was traveling with her when her phone goes offline. We have every reason to believe at this point she did not go willingly. She was about 20 or 30 minutes into her shift. From all of the witnesses, her family that we've spoken to, this is unusual behavior for her. And as we now know, several of her items have now been found in locations that don't make much sense. So at this point, we have every reason to believe she did not go willingly. And at this point, we're 2 weeks later and we still don't have her. I think we have more than enough at this level to charge him with the charges that he's been charged with, which is kidnapping, criminal use of communication facility, recklessly endangering her, and all the charges that we approved.
Thank you. Actually, and my last question was, how many victims have come forward since?
So at this point, that's still very much in flux. I know the police department, I know our victim witness team are all fielding those calls, and so I'm sure at some point we'll have more information on that, but at this point, I wouldn't want to speculate in terms of how many there are, but there are people coming forward.
Thank you. Let me also just supplement that without getting more detail than I should. Supplement that by saying sometimes when we get information or the police get information, it's coming about, let's just say, a car, right? Information about a car. Well, the significance of that information may be a lot more than what even the person providing it believes. If you get information about a car, if that takes you to a car, if that allows you to do DNA on that car, if that allows you to do geolocation on a navigation system in that car, if that allows you to look for other things, that may branch off in multiple directions and provide layers and layers and layers of important information. And as you all know, we are, and by we, I mean the Philadelphia Police Department, the FBI, other law enforcement partners are actively searching for her now, okay? So any tip, any information that's coming in, even if it's about a prior incident in which Keon King was involved, even if it's just about how he always does the same stuff, that may fill a gap in this investigation that's absolutely crucial to every effort to bring her home safely and to get the family justice.
Is he cooperating at all with?
I cannot comment on that at this time. Jennifer Lee, Channel 29 Fox.
Thank you so much for taking the question. I'm wondering, the prior kidnapping case, the victim, is she now working with your office? Has she come forward since this recent arrest?
What I can tell you is that there has been significant contact with her, including meeting in person with members of the DA's office, significant contact with her family. I'm sure you can understand there are reasons why it would be inappropriate for me to say exactly where or exactly when, But yes, there has been significant contact with her. There have been discussions with her and her family. We have worked in the past and even now to make sure.
Okay, ladies, I'm going to skip over to the next press conference. We heard the gist of everything in this first one, so we're going to get to the next press conference because we got a lot of kind of cover tonight. And thank you, Night Owls, for hanging out with me. Let's do this.
We have called this press availability in order to address any questions the media may have or anything else that we can do to support the ongoing investigation of the kidnapping of Kada Scott, the efforts to safely locate her, the efforts to further this investigation in this particular case. I just want to start by saying October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Our prosecutors, victim advocates, and law enforcement staff are deeply concerned about every victim and survivor of crime, and those who are victims of domestic violence are extremely important to us. We will be giving a few more details about the investigation and prosecution of defendant Keon King. Most of the details of the case you already know. You're aware of them. But I want to make sure that we are keeping the public updated, and I want to make sure that people understand that the FBI, the Philadelphia Police Department, the DA's office, other law enforcement partners are working 24/7 on this case, are doing everything we can with the remarkable, unusual, extraordinary support and help coming from the public to address the situation we all face. I think part of what is really, perhaps what has animated so much community help, such an unprecedented effort that we are seeing by the community to get us information, to get the police information, anonymous tips, tips about cars, tips about evidence locations, things of that sort. We even have some information that additional victims of this defendant from incidents that never resulted in an arrest are starting to come forward. I think part of what is happening here, and it's good news, is that young people are seeing themselves in Kada. Older people see their kids, and they would like to know that everyone is doing everything they can, no matter how perfectly or imperfectly, but they're doing everything they can to try to deal with this horrific situation. I am here to say to the public that I am fully committed to there being justice in this case, to every single thing that can be done for Kada being done now. I'm not alone in that. I can tell you that the mayor has gone to somewhat extraordinary and very impressive lengths to try to address the needs of this family, to make sure that this investigation goes as smoothly as possible. Police Commissioner, I know, feels the same way. He and I have been on the phone a couple times speaking directly about certain aspects of this case over the past several days. I can't tell you exactly what that was about because, as I said, the investigation is ongoing, but it was about stuff that mattered. It was about stuff that was important, and we were very much of the same mind about how to address that issue. If there's anything that I hope to gain by this press conference, it is frankly part of what was gained by the last one, the one that was done by PPD middle of last week, and that is to get more help. It is to have more people come forward. It is to get more information. We have reason to believe that will happen because it's already happened. We have reason to believe that will happen because of the deep interest people have in Kada Scott and the deep interest they have in her safety and getting justice for what has occurred here. For anyone who has additional information, please reach out to the Philadelphia Police Department at 215-686-TIPS, 215-686-TIPS, or please contact us at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, 215-686-8000. I'd like to acknowledge now some of the good people who are here. We have with us State Representative Andre Carroll of the 201st Legislative District. Representative Carroll has been deeply interested in criminal justice, including criminal justice for young people for many years, has worked closely with our office at times, and as it happens, knew Kada Scott in ways that he can certainly explain. Representative Carroll will be speaking. We have first ADA Robert Listenby here. We have ADA Ashley Tezlowski, who is in the DAO's Homicide Non-Fatal Shooting Unit, and is taking the lead on a lot of the efforts right now with the assistance of others in this office. ADA Bob Wainwright, who is the chief of the DAO's Homicide Non-Fatal Shooting Unit, is here. ADA Bill Fritzy, chief of the DAO's Gun Violence Task Force.
I think I'm repeating the same thing. Hold a second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just gonna let this play for a second. I'm just gonna go and search because I don't think this is the second press conference because he had a different color tie. Let me look. I'm just gonna let this play out while I'm searching for the right one because I think I'm off here. I apologize. I really apologize.
Which also is responsible for some of the most important technological forensics that we do, and they will continue to be very important in this investigation, is here. We have Mariel Dela Cruz, Director of DAO's Victim Services Unit, Donna Wood, Director of the DAO's Relocation Unit, here. I do want to take a moment here to thank Ashley for her deep dive into this case. This is not something she had early on. This is something that came to her desk more recently. But I can tell you, she ain't sleeping. She's on the phone with me all the time, at every hour, as she should be, because there's not an hour that should pass without additional.
Yep, I messed up. I apologize. Let me skip all the way to the end. Let me skip to the current one. Okay. Okay, this is the current.
One of them being gun violence data.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I truly apologize for this is the more up-to-date press conference. I ended up repeating the other one. I knew it was something different because he had the red stripes. Okay, sir, let's hear what you have to say. Reason.
And another being a related special topic. That is not what we're doing today. This press conference is yielding to the needs and the wishes and the priorities of the family of Kada Scott in the process of addressing those needs. We will be announcing that there are new charges being brought against Keon King. We'll get into the details, but the bottom line is a second case has already been approved, and we expect there to be a new arrest today, in all likelihood, of Keon King when he was brought in from the jail. The arrest will be for burning of a car, arson, causing catastrophe, conspiracy, several other charges, and we'll get into the details of that in a moment. But more than anything, as I said, this is a press conference that I hope will in some way address some of the needs and wishes of the family. At this time, I'd like to identify some of the good people who are here. We have with us Philadelphia City Council member Anthony Phillips from the 9th Council District, who has been extremely heavily involved in addressing the family's needs, as have other city officials, but extremely heavily involved, including in a meeting with the family where I was also present. He will be talking about the efforts that his office is making specifically to address the family's needs when he speaks later during this conference. We have First Assistant DA Robert Listenby here, ADA Ashley Tizlowski of the DAO's Homicide Non-Fatal Shooting Unit, who is handling this matter in close communication with me and others, but is handling this matter. We'll be addressing some of the new developments in the case. ADA Bob Wainwright, who is her chief, the chief of the DAO's Homicide Non-Fatal Shooting Unit, is present. Mariel Dela Cruz, who is the director of the DAO's Victim Services Unit, is here. Donna Wood, who is director of DAO's Relocation Unit, is here. We have Tania Leonard with us today, who is the director of the DAO's CARES Unit. And we have Marcus Allen. Mr. Allen is the cousin of Kada Scott on the mother's side, and he is present here on behalf of the family of Kada Scott. While he will not be reading it, he will be standing with us when a statement from the mother and father of Kada Scott is read today. That statement will also be put up on the screen so that you will have the text of it. Over the last several weeks, Mayor Sherelle Parker, the Philadelphia Police Department, the Philadelphia DA's office, elected local officials as well as faith leaders and community leaders have been showing acts of kindness, support, advocacy, prayer for Kada Scott's family. Yesterday, I had the chance to visit Kada Scott's mother, father, sister, uncle, and cousins, along with Philadelphia City Council member Anthony Phillips and some other members of our team, to speak to them, to listen to and to access their current needs, to explore how the DAO can assist them and walk with them through this horrific and difficult journey, to express our condolences to them in person, and to offer resources through our external engagement operations, which include our Victim Services Unit and our CARES Unit. We also were there to provide the most recent update on the investigation, to answer their questions about the prosecutorial process, its details, its timing, and what they, as a family, can expect next in the criminal justice process. It was very important to me for them to get some details about the case, which is developing almost hourly from us, and not just from the media. And that is no disrespect to the media, but it's hard for a family to read and learn things about a loved one for the first time on a television screen or on social media or by reading an article. So we wanted to make sure that we conveyed to them as early as possible, as much as possible, so that they would have the information that they wanted and that they needed. During the sit down with the family, we made a commitment that today's press conference would be all about their daughter. And therefore, as I've already mentioned, there are certain things that we want to cover today. We want to cover a statement that is to be read and released to the media on behalf of the family, specifically written and approved by the mother and father of Kada Scott. We want to cover some recent developments within the investigation and prosecution of Keon King. We want to continue our request for the community's assistance, tips, and information that would help the investigation and strengthen the prosecution against defendant Keon King. Let's understand the community has already done tremendous work in aiding progress with this investigation. We are simply asking for more. And we also want to convey the upcoming effort to support the family of Kada Scott, led by City Council Member Anthony Phillips of the 9th Council District, including the use of his office for that purpose, and we will let him speak about that. I'd like to start with the family's statement. Tania Leonard, who is the director of the DAO's CARES unit, and Mariel Dela Cruz, Jessica Serrano, victim witness coordinator, will stand with Tania, is going to read that statement on behalf of the family. Standing with them, of course, will be Mr. Marcus Allen. Although he will not be speaking today, he will be here at their request and as their presence in this moment. You should know that Tania, who was present when Councilmember Phillips and I spoke to the family, will be working collaboratively with them and with our internal and external victim advocates to prioritize critical, necessary services to support the family and communities that are impacted by this horrific killing. Tania Leonard and friends.
Good morning. I'm Tania Leonard, the Director of Crisis Assistance, Response, and Engagement Unit here at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office. And on behalf of the CARES unit, I want to begin by extending our deepest care and support to the family of Kada Scott during this unimaginable, difficult time. CARES was created to stand with families who have experienced this type of tragedy and to walk beside them, help them.
I agree with that one. He did turn himself in, but he did that as a legal maneuver that he believes may help him later. Ooh, do I see BG up in here? Ooh, I see you, classy sister. We having a Night Owl live stream here. BG, this is a mess. This is so sad. We got another Dusty out here on the loose. Well, he's caught. It's a Dusty Epidemic. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me go back to what you said, classic. Yeah, because if the father is a detective, he probably told him, said, son, turn yourself in. You know, these are my thoughts and opinions. I don't know exactly whatever, but if it is, maybe. All right, let's get back to the press conference. This is the latest press conference. Resume.
Access the support they need and ensure they are not alone in days and weeks ahead. Yesterday evening, members of our team met with the mother and father of Kada Scott at their home alongside the district attorney to offer our continued presence, resources, and support as they navigate this profound loss. At this time, with the family's permission, we'll share a statement prepared by Kada's mother and father as we stand in solidarity with the family as a unit, as victim advocates, and as an office during this journey of grief and healing. Today, we'll say her name. Tomorrow, we'll say her name. And forever, we will say her name. It is with profound sadness that we share the tragic passing of our beloved daughter, Kada Scott. We kindly ask for space and privacy at this time as we process the heartbreaking events of the past few weeks. Our hearts are shattered, yet we are deeply grateful for the outpouring of love, support, and prayers from people across the nation and around the world. Please continue to keep us in prayer as we navigate this unimaginable loss. Our hearts are broken beyond measure. We are profoundly thankful to every person who shared Kada's story, joined the search efforts, prayed with us, and stood by our family during this devastating time. Your compassion, love, and strength have carried us when we could not carry ourselves. Kada was deeply, deeply loved. Her light, kindness, and beautiful spirit will forever remain in our hearts. We also wish to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mayor Sherelle Parker, the Philadelphia Police Department, all first responders, local volunteers, community organizations, and media outlets, as well as everyone who worked tirelessly to help find our daughter. Although the outcome is one no parent should ever have to face, we remain thankful for the unity, leadership, and love that surrounded us through it all. As we continue to grieve, our family now seeks justice for Kada. We place our full trust in the Philadelphia Police Department and the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office to ensure that the truth is revealed and that those responsible are held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Please honor Kada's memory by showing kindness and care to one another, just as she did every day of her life. With love, strength, and gratitude, the family of Kada Scott.
Thank you, Senior Leonard. Ashley Kozlowski will be, at this time, lead counsel in the prosecution of Keon King and has been working tirelessly on every aspect of the case, including obtaining a warrant that contains additional charges. Those charges include arson, causing catastrophe, conspiracy, unauthorized use of an automobile, receiving stolen property, reckless endangerment of another person, tampering with evidence. We are not done, but this is a significant development in the prosecution itself, and obviously there have been other developments already reported over the weekend in the case. It is my pleasure to call forward Ashley Kozlowski, who does about as good a job as anyone I've ever seen.
Thank you. As of last night, our office approved charges, as the DA just said, of arson, causing catastrophe, conspiracy, unauthorized use of an automobile, tampering with evidence, recklessly endangering another person, and receipt of stolen property. Those charges are in reference to the burning of a vehicle. That vehicle is a 2008 black Hyundai Accent. That vehicle first entered our radar last week. Investigators received a tip that there was a vehicle burning and that that vehicle had some connection to this case. At the time last week, when investigators went to the location where the vehicle was burned, that vehicle was no longer there. It had already been towed, compacted, and was in a junkyard. This weekend, we recovered additional evidence, including video evidence that confirms that this vehicle, we believe, is the vehicle that Mr. Keon King used to move Ms. Scott. We recovered video out from near the Ada Lewis Middle School, where our search and the investigator search has been focused. There's a rec center directly next to that school. Video evidence was recovered from that rec center, and we are now able to say that this Hyundai Accent was on location.
Classic. What they haven't changed him yet is for, I think they did. I think now he's being charged for it. That's the latest. We kind of like going down a little bit like timeline or whatever. But yeah, because she was blanked at the head. And so now that they have proofs, I guess autopsy, they got some of the information, they let us know. They're not gonna charge. All right, I got you. I got you, Classic. They're not gonna tell us like how you say everything, because you're gonna say everything for the courts or whatever, stuff like that. They want to spoil evidence. But I believe now they have changed all the charges. So, added charges. So basically, yeah, he's going to be found for that, capital that. All right, let's get back to it.
Location at all of the times we're looking at all of the pertinent points in the investigation. That vehicle was stolen on October 3rd from the area of 6600 Sprague Street. We believe that vehicle is the vehicle that was used in this case. That vehicle was then on scene at that rec center, which ultimately, as we all know, is where we found Ms. Scott's human remains. Video evidence indicates it was on location. Video evidence then indicates it leaves the location. It is burned on October 7th. It was located at the 2300 block of 74th Avenue. When this new video evidence was uncovered this weekend, investigators from the homicide unit cross-referenced all of this information with the cell phone evidence that we had already gained and we had already been using in terms of the kidnapping case and other charges. What I can share is that the cell phone evidence, the call detail records, and timing advance data as it pertains to Keon King's mobile device puts him at all of the locations that we're talking about. It's on scene when the Hyundai Accent is there at the recreation center. It is on scene when the vehicle is burned. Based on that, last night I approved those charges, and as the DA said, we should have more information in terms of bail and a preliminary hearing date, hopefully this afternoon or certainly by tomorrow.
Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate those.
I just want to pause for a second to say to people that's coming in, might be a first time or whatever, I have it on speed 1.25. Just so everybody know. You can adjust the speed if you want it a little bit slower, a little bit faster, hit the setting, whatever's comfortable for you. But I just want to let you know the speed is on 1.25. Okay, let's resume.
Details. Just a reminder to those in the public who have been so helpful. I think you just heard Ashley Teslowski talking about the fact that this burning automobile was connected to this case in part due to a tip from the public. I'm not kidding when I say that the public has played an enormous role here. I would ask residents of Philadelphia to continue reaching out with tips and information to seek justice for the family of Kada Scott and to allow us to have all the facts so we can justly and vigorously prosecute defendant Keon King and any other people who may have been involved with his activity. Philadelphia Police Department can accept this information at 215-686-TIPS. In other words, 215-686-TIPS. You could also call the DA's office at 215-686-8000, and we will make sure that your information is considered as an aspect of this investigation. It is now my pleasure to introduce Philadelphia City Council member Anthony Phillips of the 9th Council District, who has been on this, along with other city officials, to include Mayor Sherelle Parker, Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel, Council President Kenyatta Johnson, faith leaders, members of the faith community. Councilmember Phillips has been there from the start, and he has more to do. He has more to say about what it is the public can do to further assist this family. We are excited to have the opportunity to support the upcoming efforts of Councilmember Phillips in the mighty 9th Council District, and we are also delighted to continue our collaboration and partnership with him in many other ways as well. Councilmember Phillips.
Good morning. Thank you, District Attorney Krasner, for your efforts to bring this monster to justice. I'm not here to talk about the monster. I'm here to talk about Kada and the family. As District Attorney pointed out just recently, we had the opportunity to meet with the family of Kada. We had, quite some private conversation about some things that were really important to the family. And what we determined from that conversation from the family is the kindness and wonderfulness of who Kada was. And after speaking with the family, they told us some things that could be helpful to them. And so myself and our office has decided that we're going to try to support them in their efforts to help them with their needs. But before I begin, I just want to make this announcement. I just want to say that Kada Scott mattered. Her life matters. She was a kind woman. She, as the family has pointed out, Kada was kind. She was kind in how she helped support the elderly at her work. She was kind to her friends. She was kind to her family. Her school teachers that she had, high school principals talked about her. Her college administrators and staff and professors have spoken about her. They talked about her contagious joy and smile and wonderfulness. And so we're reminded that, tragedy strikes here in Philadelphia, and nothing can cease the pain that this family is going through. But what we can do as a city, and what we've been doing for the past several weeks as a city, is showing our kindness to this family. Because Kada is someone who could have been our sister, our cousin, just someone that is a friend or family member in our lives. That decency is something that we know throughout our lives, and it could have been anybody, any one of us. So I want you to know that because of that, Philadelphia cares, and because the family has asked for us to show kindness, and leave her legacy of kindness in a way that is shown and demonstrated. Today, our office has the intentions to open up a collection effort starting tomorrow with our office to collect gifts and items for Kada's family. Some of the items the 9th District Office is accepting for the Scott family during this difficult time include self-care items, toiletries, comfort and relaxation products, gift cards such as meal delivery services, or general gift cards such as a Visa gift card or other store-related gift cards. For food, non-perishable food items, these gifts are intended for Kada's mother, father, and high school-age sister, a young woman. The high school-age sister is a young woman who continues to show incredible strength as she strives to prepare for college amid such heartbreak. We want her to know that her entire community stands behind her and cheering her on. So, if donations can be dropped off at our office, City Councilmember Anthony Phillips' office on Wadsworth Avenue, located at 1514 Wadsworth Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19150. Our office is going to be open from 8:30 to 4:30, Tuesday through Friday, starting this week. We're going to have special Saturday hours on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Where people can send their donations, bring their donations as well. If you have any questions, please call our office at 215-686-3454. This is an opportunity, again, for the city of Philadelphia to reflect the kindness. Again, I want to say this is an opportunity for the city of Philadelphia to reflect the kindness that Kada has shared. And we've already done that by helping promote and get the level of justice that she needs. But now let's show the family that we're not only there for them in that tragic moment, but we're going to be there for them after. So please, please make sure that we get as many donations as possible to 1514 Wadsworth Avenue, October 21st through the 25th. Our office is open 8:30 to 4:30 from Tuesday through Friday. And this Saturday, we're going to be open from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Again, self-care items, gift cards, and food and non-perishable items. Also want to remind folks that we did opportunity to speak to the family. And one of the things that the family did note to us, which is really important, is that they did say in their statement, respect their privacy. So that's why we're collecting the donations at our office, and we're going to be delivering it to them.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Phillips. All right, at this time we will go to questions. I would say this, as I look at this list, this is about as long a list of journalists as I've seen in quite some time. So a couple of ground rules. Please try to confine your questions to one or two. If there's additional follow-up, we can try to address that later, just so we can give everyone their opportunity. Number two, these questions I'm going to ask you out of respect for the family who are present here should be on the topic of today's press conference, please. And that's not the first time I've requested it. I'm sure that you understand why. And to the extent that you can confine them to the topics we are addressing today, please understand this is an ever-evolving, developing situation, both in terms of investigation and prosecution. There are things that we know today that we cannot tell you. And we cannot tell you for a variety of reasons. The integrity of the investigation, safety, the trauma that the family is dealing with is not best handled by finding things out for the first time in the media. So we will try to be as transparent and open as we can, consistent with those obligations and consistent with the purpose of this press conference, which is to respect the family's needs and wishes. Channel 3 CBS, I see Joe Holden and Josh Sanders.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Krasner. First, can you give us any more information about the tip that leads police back to Ada Lewis? Secondly, how does she really meet Keon King, if you know? And then third, have there been any conversations about how King is out again after multiple, are you retraining people in your staff?
All right, so that's three questions. Let me address the third one. We are always trying to do better. We have already acknowledged, and I'll acknowledge again, we could have done better with respect to one or more of the decisions that were made in a case that was otherwise handled well. And we are looking at a variety of different options that I think are appropriate for the lessons that we have learned in this case. As for your other two questions, I'm going to ask Ashley Kozlowski to come forward to answer them for you.
So in terms of your first question about the tip, what I can share is that obviously initially we received a tip to go to a meeting last week. We received a tip to go to the Ada Lewis Middle School. Investigators went, did a thorough search. Essentially what the new tip was this weekend was go back. It was go back, she's there, look again, and they did give more specific details in terms of where to look. And ultimately that is what led us to her. I'm not going to say how. Obviously we are investigating the tip and we'll continue to do that, but the tip was more specific than the first. It was very specific to go back, and it was more specific in terms of where to look, and that is what the police did. And I'm sorry, your second question was?
How do they know each other?
I'm still not going to comment on that. It's something that is actively being investigated. Obviously, they knew each other to some extent. We believe in terms of maybe there was some cell phone communication, obviously. But other than that, I'm not going to comment in terms of how they know each other. That's something that's still, or where they met or how long they knew each other, because that is something that's still being investigated.
Channel 6 ABC, Tarhunda Thomas. Did I pronounce? My apologies. You're Channel 3 CBS as well? Yes, sir. Of course, yeah.
Two follow-up questions. You mentioned lessons learned. I wonder if you gave the specifics of the lessons that your office has learned from this. And my second question is, this tipster have any relationship to
All right. So we're now getting into 5 questions from one station, but let me see what I can do for you. All right. I'm not going to get into all of the specifics, other than to say that we have already discussed in this office the value that we have seen for certain kinds of cases in specialization. It's something that we have done before in changing the way things have been done literally for decades in this office. I'll leave my comment on that point there. Your second question again, sir?
The tipster, are they related to Keon King?
When you say the tipster, you're speaking of the tipster for the...
The person who followed up with the tip, said go back and gave more details and specifics. Is this a family member of Keon King or something related to Keon King?
I think I know what the answer is going to be, but let me check with Ashley Teslowski. Well, the answer is a little different than I expected. The answer is we don't know, and we are investigating it at this time. All right. Taronda, I apologize for mispronouncing.
I want to make sure point of clarification. Has the medical examiner officially confirmed that this is Kada Scott made a positive identification? And then my second question is, going back to the case in January related to this, who withdrew the charges? Was it something that the case office did, the judge? Make that clarification.
So as for your first question, it has been confirmed that these are the human remains of Kada Scott, and that has been confirmed by DNA. I believe that's also been reported. There was some erroneous reporting that it was quick DNA. It was actually not quick DNA. It was the regular DNA. So that is resolved. And I'm sorry, your second question?
The second question was about the withdrawal of the charges from the January case. Who decided to withdraw this case? Was something done by the judge, the attorney's office? And just as it relates to the witness not showing up, would it have been sufficient if that witness, for instance, gave a statement to police that was on video? Was that something that was there and not able to be used?
So Ms. Thomas, this is something we addressed previously. I'll go over it again in summary form. But this is a situation in which there were actually 2 witnesses. There was a complainant. There was an eyewitness. There were good efforts to have the case prepared, to contact them, to speak to them. There were good efforts to subpoena them. Nothing is perfect in this life, but that was all handled well. The case was marked must be tried by a judge at the first listing when these witnesses did not appear. Neither one of them appeared for either one of these 2 listings. That is a judicial decision. It is not our decision. And then on the second occasion, when these 2 witnesses did not appear again, the attorney who was handling this case was faced with having the case either thrown out or withdrawn. There are certain strategic reasons why it can be better to have it withdrawn. But understand, when a judge of a particular level, and here it's the municipal court, rules that this is a must-be-tried case, that, under the laws that exist, requires the second judge to throw it out if the case is not ready to be tried. As we have indicated before, I do believe that there is a way this could have been presented without those witnesses. The buck stops here. That is on me, that it was not handled in that fashion. But I also believe, as I've said before, that it's a tough situation, especially in domestic cases, when you have a defendant out of custody who's going to come in and out of the courthouse doors, just like those witnesses. All right, Channel 10, Telemundo, Isabel Sanchez. Tenemos cargos nuevos. En este caso, tienen que ver con lo que pasó con un automóvil. Quemaron el automóvil. Is that the right word? Okay. I saw those eyes. I thought I got it wrong. Let me try it again. Tenemos cargos nuevos, en este caso, sobre quemar un automóvil. Esos cargos van a incluir el cargo de arson, también de auto theft, receiving stolen property, causing a catastrophe. Son las palabras en inglés que tienen que ver con lo que hizo este defendiente en cuanto al automóvil que él usó para llevar a la víctima. Okay, English and Spanish. I have reason to believe that there will be additional charges that will be coming. Exactly when is unclear, and it may be two different groups of additional charges. But yes, we expect there to be new charges. En español, yo creo que vamos a tener más cargos en este caso, posiblemente en dos grupos, no puedo decir precisamente cuándo, pero van a venir en este caso. Thank you. Channel 10 NBC, Aaron Baskerville.
A lot of questions have been asked that I'd like to ask, but I got two. Off the top, you said the second case is concluded. Logistically, is that a different case, or is that the other charges you're talking about, or is there a whole other case or another person that you're looking at? You say second case, or did somebody, a victim, come forward? What does that mean?
When I say a second case today here, what I'm talking about is that this arson of this automobile is a second case. Please remember that these events didn't all happen in a 30-minute period of time. These happen on different days, in different places. They involve different activity. You know, the theft of a car, the burning of a car is different than a kidnapping, for example. So what is happening today is the initiation of a second case that will not only require a second set of charges and arrest, for which the defendant is going to be brought down from custody. It'll require a second bail hearing. Some of the process may occur at the same time in terms of the prosecution itself, because it's part of a larger story. But what we are announcing today in and of itself is a second case. Could there be additional cases if there are other victims who come forward? Yes, there could be additional cases if there are other victims who come forward. There could be additional cases as more evidence develops and we have probable cause to bring more charges for things that happened over this period of a few weeks.
Nobody else stepped forward so far? Another victim or anything like that?
I'm not going to comment on that at this time.
My second question is kind of more of the timeline. So just in my head, there's a lot of information. October 3rd, the car is stolen. We believe Mr. King stole that car, and then obviously she disappears October 4th. Then October 7th, the car is found burned and I guess towed away. At the rec center, is the car after it's stolen, or October 4th, is that the car that's used? We believe that Kada is in with Mr. King, and they're at the rec center. When are they at the rec center? In between October 3rd, when the car is stolen, and October 7th, when the car is found burned and destroyed?
Well, I think you raise a very good point that the timeline is a little bit complex and confusing. And especially if you're talking about more than one car being used in more than one place, it's probably helpful to go through that timeline. So I'm going to ask Ashley Teslowski to come forward. And even though, we've been talking about this so quickly that we sometimes don't slow down to identify exactly what place, exactly what car, I'm going to ask Ashley as best as she can to explain this as if she were explaining to people who didn't know anything about it.
So in terms of the timeline, you pretty much got it accurate, meaning the car was stolen on October 3rd. Obviously, Ms. Scott goes missing the next day. That vehicle then, we believe, immediately goes to the rec center. We believe it remains there for about a day and a half until it then leaves and the car is burned. In terms of what the video showed or what we know about what happened there, I'm not going to comment on. I think there will be an appropriate time for those details to come out, and that appropriate time would be at the preliminary hearing when all of the evidence is presented. But in terms of a timeline, you had it right. October 3rd, the vehicle goes missing. October 4th, she goes missing. We then pick up the vehicle at that location where it remains for about a day and a half. It then leaves and is burned the next day on October 7th.
Mr. King stole that car? Did somebody else steal that car?
I don't want to comment about what I believe happened. All I can say at this point is what the evidence that we have, and what I can say is the evidence that we have is that Mr. King's phone is on location when that vehicle is at the rec center, and it's on location when the car is burned. That is what we know right now. We have it in the area, but we do not have it on location. That's not to say he wasn't there. All we can do is look at the cell phone evidence that we have in terms of when calls are being made and when data can be plotted, if that makes sense.
All right, let me see. Channel 17, John Leonard. Do you have any questions, sir? Thank you. 29 Fox, Kelly Rule.
I think actually someone answered this, but the video evidence from the rec center, are you able to say if that shows anybody working with King? Or can you comment on additional suspects?
Well, let me just note this, and then once again, I'll bring Ashley up. But you may have noticed that we're charging conspiracy with reference to the arson. Now, that's a separate place and time, but we don't bring charges unless we have a probable cause. Let me now ask Ashley to come forward.
My answer is essentially going to be the same thing, right? I mean, obviously we did charge conspiracy, so at this point we do have reason to believe that other people may have been involved after the fact, but in terms of who those people are and the level of their involvement, I'm not going to comment at this time. It's very much still being investigated.
I'm hearing an update. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments that it's like about a possibility of 3 to 4 people that helped this Dusty. A lot of enablers. Who are these enablers? Everybody got to go. All of them. It's all going to come out. So he didn't act. No, he didn't. Classic. No, he didn't. I'm trying to understand. I'm glad everybody's hanging me because this is the only time I'm really able to catch it. I'm trying to like follow up on everything, but it seems like I guess he got her from work, blank blank, unalived her. He had her driving around, I guess, trying to figure out what to do. He called up people, yo, I got boo, whatever, such and such, and they went to go and help him, you know, dispose of it. hmm That's what I think that really led to. But who are these people, classic, that he went to for help? And they was okay with it. I wish somebody would call me up or text me. You know, I'm in a jam, something. Oh yeah, I want you to help me with this body. Are you kidding me? Well, you know, Dusties hang with Dusties. Oh boy. But I also heard it's a possibility it could be a woman, so it might be a Dustette. Mm. All right, let's get back to it. Yeah, yes, BG. This is insane. Resume. Back to the press conference.
You mentioned that the car was towed and impounded. Is it believed that King had anything to do with that, or that was just the community making calls saying like this car?
There was a 911 call that a vehicle was on fire. So police did respond to it. The fire department responded to it, ruled it an arson, and then at that point, when they were finished with their investigation, the car was demolished. It was burned, so it was taken and towed and compacted and. Yeah.
Demolished before they could pull evidence from the car.
Yes. Well, and I'll say, when we got there, it was completely compacted, right? What the tow company had already done, or what the junkyard had done, had already been done. With that being said, the car had been completely burned. And in terms of being able to tell what happened, the fire department was able to say it was an arson, and we're also able to have video to kind of piece things together. So there's no question about what happened. We were able to determine that.
Thank you. All right, let me see. Kristen Johansson, KYW.
Two questions. One was for Ashley. How does the car play into the gold Camry play into then to this whole? Because we're gonna have to say something about the gold car.
Yes, so what I can say at this time is that at the point where the Hyundai Accent is on scene, on video at the rec center leading up to all of the events we're talking about, the other car, the Toyota, is there as well. And we believe the people in these vehicles are working together.
And then the other thing is how much, as far as volumes, how much surveillance video is like, I know there was a lot of notifications, so how much, it's hard probably to quantify, but.
We have extensive amounts of video information at this point, and it's still being retrieved as we speak. And I expect there will be more. It is a lot of video. What I can say is that, initially when the video was recovered, they were reviewing it kind of in real time as it was being recovered, and that's the information I'm basing this all off of today. There will be more, and there is more, and their detectives will continue to go through all of the video. It's a lot of video.
And then for District Attorney Larry Krasner, there's obviously been a lot of criticism of your office and how your office handled this case, but also additionally how bail was handled in general. What can you do to ensure, or I guess ensure the public, or there's probably a better word there, ensure the public that there's not another Kada Scott that's going to come out, that there's not going to be another kind of case like this where case is withdrawn, violence against women, case withdrawn, bail was not, appealed immediately. It seems that you're putting the blame on the judges for that. How can you ensure that there's not going to be another Kada Scott?
Well, actually, I think it was pretty clear that I wasn't putting the blame on the judges. I think I was pretty clear that I was blaming the existence of cash bail. And systemically, we all have to try to do better. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania should stop making money off of bail. And they should go to a system that is much more effective, one where truly dangerous people remain in custody. And that has worked for more than 3 decades in D.C., and that is about 12% of defendants. And where the rest of those defendants are not required to pay money, because for the most part, they face much less serious charges, and the only reason they're in jail is because they're broke. The bail system is broke. That should be fixed. That was not a criticism of individual judges. That was a criticism of that system. What I can tell you is that the buck stops here. We recognize that there are some things that could have been done better in this case. From the moment this occurred, we have been looking at ways that we can improve our systems, because we have to be open to systemic change as well, and we will have further announcements about that in the future.
So have you done any policy reviews or anything specific that you can tell the public about?
We are actively looking at ways that we can do better. It's everybody's view of this is always clear when you're looking back and you have fuller knowledge. Nobody's view is quite as clear, whether it's a judge setting bail or it's a prosecutor making a decision. Nobody's view is quite as clear earlier, we need to try to change that. We need to try to find ways to be better at making sure that there are as few errors as possible and that there is as much protection as possible, especially in the current environment women face. Jesse Bunch, Philadelphia Inquirer.
So this is also about how prosecutors handled King's prior cases. We're seeing a warrant assigned on King's second case, the kidnapping charge on January 19th. And King would be arrested and charged for that several months later. By February, King would have had to appear in court for that first assault case in December. So I'm asking, why wasn't King taken into custody in February at the CJC if he had that open warrant out for the kidnapping charge?
I have to admit, I lost track somewhere in the middle there, and I don't say that to be in any way dismissive. Can you just say that again, please, so I can make sure that Ashley and I hear your point?
So for King's case in February, for the charges from December, in between that, there was a second case open against him, the kidnapping charges in January. There would have been an open warrant if he appeared in court.
Exactly, classic. I agree with you. Just have a little guilty conscience, or I don't know, figure they get a little less time. But the way classic it happened, what they saying is, excuse me, I'm not gonna play it now. We're just gonna watch this press conference, and I'm just gonna, let everybody go and stuff. 'Cause we've been here for a minute. But what they saying is, she's at work. She gets to work. I think it was 10 o'clock. Let's say she get to work 10 o'clock. One of her co-workers or somebody overheard her, talking. That was him. And it was weird saying, why you bringing that up now, or something like that. Something she said. And then the next thing you know, they showed the text message, and the text message was like, CM when you get outside, or I guess call me when you outside. So she's at work for only 20 minutes, and somebody overheard that she was upset. I guess she told him like, "Oh, I'm going out, but I'll be right back," and she never came back. But she had a date earlier that day. She came home. She went to work, and then the Dusty calls her, whatever, blah blah blah, texts her. She was upset, and now she's unalive. This is so crazy. And then the way he did it with a G to the head. The way he did it was like she didn't mean nothing. Cause they saying that she was unalive 20 minutes after she got in that car. That's 20 minutes? You just pulled out and just, wow. This is insane. That's why everybody's so baffled off of this. This is why this crime is getting so much exposure, because people just not understanding what the heck. Yeah. You get it. Basically. It's like every day it's just something else. That's why everybody's like, what the heck? You know what it is? You're not that type of person. People are good people, but there's people out here that's just evil. They don't care. Just because you won't do it, that don't mean the other person won't do it. All right, let's get back to it. I don't want to hold y'all much longer. But thank you everybody for being a night owls. Let's get into this one. Man, oh my God. She was on the right track. Everything was going good for her until this Dusty took it away. Oh, I'm so angry. Resume.
February for a different case, at least in my understanding. So we're just wondering why that was he not arrested and charged until April.
Let me see if I can help you with that.
So what I was just sharing with the DA was, in front of me, I don't have the date that warrant was actually dropped against Mr. King. I don't know if you have that, or if you're just assuming that there was a warrant at the time, because I know he wasn't arrested until closer to April, and I believe the warrant was closer to that, but again, I don't have the date that warrant came through, meaning I can't stand here and say that warrant was active at the time he appeared. I don't have that in front of me.
We saw January 19th.
I'm not saying you're wrong, I just don't have it in front of me. In terms of when the warrant came through, I don't know. But obviously, once he was arrested, bail was set at that time.
All right, let me see. Tom McDonald, WHYY.
I know you don't have a specific timetable, but in similar cases like this, where there's a homicide in question, how long does it usually take for the results from the autopsy to move forward so you can charge?
I think that's a great question. I'm just trying to, consistent with our need to protect certain information and provide certain information, I'm just trying to figure out how much we can say to answer that. If you don't mind, I'm going to huddle up with Bob Wainwright and with Ashley Teslowski and see what we can say.
All right, to answer your question, how long does it typically take? It typically takes a short amount of time when the incident happens and the body is found immediately afterwards. Cases like this, it may take longer. So there's really no exact answer to that. And what we all know is that Kada Scott's human remains were found 2 weeks after she went missing. So it is not, there's no, what I can tell you also is that the medical examiner's office is actively working on this, and we're waiting on cause and manner of death, and we should have that information as soon as possible.
But you're preparing homicide charges?
I think that's a fair statement.
All right, let me see. Sherry Stone, Philadelphia Tribune. What I can say is we are not in a position to convey that information at this time. There is a very serious forensic effort here to get it right, and we don't want to get ahead of that. But as soon as, consistent with the family's needs and wishes, as soon as we are able to confirm precisely the answer to that question, it will be communicated either in a courtroom or in terms of press availability, once again, in consultation with the family. Jack Tomchuk from the Metro. Well, I will say this. I am confident that homicide charges will be brought, but I also have an obligation to follow the law and uphold the Constitution, and that means we don't take shortcuts. We don't make assumptions. We confirm all the facts before we figure out the legal conclusion to be drawn. So we will be proceeding with homicide charges when we can very precisely confirm everything we need for probable cause, and we will do so as quickly as we can once we have confirmed what we need to establish probable cause for that particular charge. All right, Mr. Dean from the Trace. Right. Well, let me just be clear. I mean, blame is a word people seem to like. I have not been a fan of cash bail from the beginning because I think it endangers the public. I have spoken about this going back almost 7 years, and I am aware of the reasons that it continues to exist in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. They're not wonderful. Let me put it that way. That is a truth. I hold that truth. And I think it would be a great advance if this state, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, would get away from cash bail and go in the direction of no cash bail, where some people, no matter what their resources, are going to be held because they're a danger. I wish we would go that way. So I do hold that truth, but I also hold the truth that we can do better, that we should try to do better every day, that even though many decisions, many aspects of the preparation of this case were solid, that there were other aspects of the preparation of this case where we could do better. So I say the buck stops here because in an office of 650 people, it is my responsibility. If there is an attorney who makes a decision, and if that decision is not the best one that could have been made. Yes, sir.
Well, your critics will say this is exactly what we've been talking about for the last year.
Well, your question is fundamentally political, and I'm not allowed to answer political questions using city resources. It's an ethical violation, so I will respectfully pass on that question. Dan Horan from Philly FPV, did I get that right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
One question. You guys stated that the car was there for about a day and a half in between the elementary school and the rec center. Does King's mobile phone data show that he was also on that location for that duration of time?
Let me bring up the expert here.
So again, I'm not going to go into specifics about what occurred during that time. However, what I can tell you at pertinent points in the video where we believe he was there, his cell phone evidence also puts him there. So it's not the entire time, but at the pertinent points where we're looking for him to be there, his cell phone puts him there, if that helps.
Thank you.
Michaela Althouse, Philly Voice.
So charges against that, as you said, have been refiled. It is listed for its kind of first preliminary hearing listing after the refile on November 4th.
Mr. Cipriano, big trial.
Mr. President, 4 years ago, when you were running for re-election, your office failed to prosecute a domestic abuser and eventual murderer of a Hispanic mother, Gladys Toriano.
Mr. Cipriano, questions are about this press conference, not about your wandering view of the planet. Do you have a question that goes to the subject matter here?
And here we are 4 years later, and you and your inexperienced team of quote superstars that you repeatedly bragged about, comparing them to Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. But their incompetence, inexperience, or ideology blows of your resume are directly responsible for the death of a promising black female, Kada Scott. How many domestic violence murders does the city have to endure, sir? How many more grieving families will have to go through the same type of tragedy before you again? You're a failed civil rights lawyer, not a prosecutor.
Sir, putting aside your wildly disrespectful approach to what's happening here, your complete absence of kindness and compassion, which is exactly what is contained in this request from the family. Putting that aside, I would bring you back to this. Please honor Kada's memory by showing kindness and care to one another, just as she did every day of her life. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I've got a second question, sir. You took 5 from CBS. Where you go?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end it now. I'm done now. All right, I'm going to probably do some more, maybe over the weekend or something like that, whatever, with the update and everything. But I just want to, just recap and go a little bit back from timelines. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for engaging. And let me look at these 2 comments here real quick. All right, Classic said, the way I heard it, this monster unalived her because he was jealous that she was seeing other dudes. We was talking about that too. That's what I'm saying, Classic. It's so many things we don't know exactly what it is, but it's a strong possibility. It could be that. It could be that. Oh my gosh. All right, BG said, my mind is spinning. I know it is, BG. My mind is spinning right now. I cannot believe this. Just 20 minutes. This is our, yeah. All right. Let me pause for a second. BG, let's talk about this for a second. Soon as she got in the car, she said she was at work. I guess arced from the phone. She punched out. All right. Let me get this right. She goes to work. I think the time is, let's say it was 10 o'clock or whatever. She gets to work at 10 o'clock. Co-worker hears she's arguing with this Dusty on the phone. And next thing you know, she punches out, oh, I'll be right back. And her car was there. Her car was still there, so she didn't plan to leave. She probably just planned to step out for a second. And then when she steps out, she get in the car. Less than 20 minutes, he to the head. This is it's so, it's like baffling. And he's only 21 years old. This is crazy. This is so crazy. But I'm going to, do some more and follow up on it and everything. And I'm glad there's so many content creators. I've been watching different ones that's doing, commentary on the following up on it. And they all have the same thing, like trying to figure out what the heck. And she's a beautiful girl, BG. She was on the right track. She was doing this. She was doing everything positive. No kids, no nothing. She would do anything but, she was just on the right track. And this Dusty just swiped it away from her. And what bothers me to find out, I don't know if it's true, if these parents is supporting this guy. Because he has a history. There's a history of stuff that he's been doing. There's an active order protection, BG, as we're speaking, with another woman that she put on him. And then when he violated another woman, he had his 2-year-old, BG, he had his 2-year-old child in the car while he was saying another woman. This is crazy. He was just a walking monster. He was just a straight up walking monster. This guy is Lucifer's son. There's no other way to describe it. And there's so many of these devils walking around. Yeah. Yes, BG. A true doll. Beautiful. That's why he couldn't handle it. All right, let me stop talking. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for hitting the like button and all that good stuff. But I will be doing some more of this when I get a chance. And thank you. I want to do it. Sorry so late, but I want to do it now. The only time I had an opportunity to do it. Good night, everyone. Have a blessed night and a safe one. And happy Friday. And have a great weekend. Adios. Yep, he was a true stalker. Mm-mm-mm.